All right, hello and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I have a really fun show planned. Um, First of all, thank you all for watching. This is my what I guess I'm going to consider my Thanksgiving special since tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And before I bring on my guests, I want to make a couple announcements. Number one, don't forget every Wednesday at the Wiz Comic. This guy right here, he's there, hopefully making you laugh. Um, Number two, all the guy. Well, I don't say all guys. There's a girl coming on too. All the people I'm bringing on are people who I'm a fan of, who I consider a friend, and and they inspire me when I see their work. Whether it's they put out YouTube videos or they're doing sketches and posting it on Instagram stories. When I see their work, I get excited. Um, Two of the guests that I advertised will not be coming on today. One is Emily Ree. She had a situation where she will not be able to come on, but I want to make sure that you guys check out her work because it's really good. And she has two things. She does comics, and she's just started actually, I think it was last year when she was on and talked about it. She has a brand called Caring is Punk. She's got hats and shirts and things. You can look that up. It's really cool stuff. Also, before I bring on the people, I just want to say a few things that I'm thankful for. Number one, I'm thankful for all you guys who watch. I love doing this. I love talking with other creative people. It's probably one of the highlights of my week. Even if I'm tired and I tell my wife, I don't want to do this tonight, I don't want to go on, the second I get behind the screen here, I am set and excited to go. The other thing I want to be thankful for is, again, this guy right here, the Wiz. Looks like someone else popped on, so we'll be getting someone. So the Wiz, I'm very thankful for a couple of reasons. One, at the end, actually in October, I think it will be 2 years of fully drawing the strip regularly. And I'm thrilled that I could do that. I am thrilled that this year it also became part of the Kid in a Comic newspaper. Please check them out online. And because of the Wiz, I won't show it from the actual side, but I got this beautiful tie-dyed, actually handwritten fan letter about the Wiz, and I thought that was really great. And I will be sending this guy some nice stuff. So yeah, I mean, outside of that and doing artwork and being able to do this show and typical stuff, roof over my head, awesome wife, all that stuff. I'm very thankful for a lot of things. But again, it's these people who I love their work and who inspire me. So let's start Ed Smith, Daphne Lage.
Hello.
And who I thought wasn't going to be coming on is on here, J.M. DeSantis. How you doing?
Hello.
How you all doing? We're going to have one more guest probably pop on, and that is the regular of this show, Ray Felix. He'll be coming on at some point.
It's possible that I won't be able to stay the whole time. We'll see how my energy level is, Yeah.
But listen, I appreciate that you were able to come on. And
right.
So, let's just start with you. And I just want everyone to introduce themselves to the audience, who you are, what you do, and if you have a project you want to promote, let's talk about it. And then later we'll, say what it is, and later I'll try to spotlight all of them by showing some of it online.
All right, cool. So you want me to start?
Yeah, you can start.
All right, yeah. So I'm J.M. DeSantis. I'm a writer, artist, publisher at Darkfire Press. Mostly work in horror and dark fantasy. My main series is Chadiana. I also have my novel, The Kirkland Horror, which continues to build some eyes on it, even though it's like a year out now. And projects right now. I mean, of course, I'm trying to get the next Chadianas out, but presently, I wouldn't say it's project related, but I got like a 25% off sale going on my Etsy right now. So, that's always worth dropping out there.
If you want to drop me the link in the private chat, I'll make sure it gets out. And don't forget, Jam, you also appear.
I am in A Kid in a Comic. Yeah. There's some things that I can't talk too much about yet. Oh my God, Cirilla, you're all in here. Yeah, she's like right on top.
It's okay when you get a chance.
Yeah, I'm trying to type out the links. All right, lady, come on down. Yeah, so I was writing The Beast with Len Danovich doing the artwork and A Kid in the Comic, and I guess around the time we had a couple of people that, thank you. She's great. I hope you're doing well, Dom and Lydia. I haven't seen you guys in a while. So, yeah, a couple of people weren't able to fulfill the end of the first season. So John Canacri asked me if I had anything else. And I pitched Chadiana to him. He liked it. So, yeah, she's got 8. I'm sorry. She started in issue 5, but then she's going all through the second season. And as far as I know, we're going to do another season with her. So it'll be a completely different story because I like to jump around with her.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, anyone that's not familiar with it, it's a dark fantasy story. She's a wandering swordswoman / assassin, very South Asian based. She really wants my attention right now. I slept all day in the bed with her because I've been having like stomach pains today, and I guess she didn't have enough of it. Yeah, so Chadiana, the series usually sees her struggling with her own demons while she's going on these adventures and such. So I toned it down a little bit for A Kid in the Comic because it's a little more all ages. So but I don't mind doing it. Anyway, I feel like I've talked everybody's ear off now.
It's okay. Let's move on to Daphne.
So hello. My name is Daphne Lade, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I've been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known for the furry fantasy Tall Tales, which is on Kickstarter right now. The campaign ends on Friday. And I am also known for my medieval fantasy drama, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which also returns to Kickstarter in January. Both my comics can be found at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, and you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at Daphne Lage, LAGE Art.
Nice. Yeah, you do a lot. And I've told you this. I've said it on the show. One of the reasons I got into self-publishing was because of you.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's 100%. I'm going to tell the story, and it's. I'll tell it again for those who haven't heard it. But when I was 16, that was 1992. I grew up in a town called Mahopac, New York, and our local mall was the Jefferson Valley Mall, and you did a convention in there.
I think I barely remember it. It's not, we don't do a lot of conventions in malls.
Yeah,
So.
I've actually done a couple at the JV Mall years later. But I remember going to the show, just walking around, and there weren't a lot of artists. It was more like dollar bin books and stuff.
Right, yeah.
But you guys were set up near the movie theater. I remember this like clearly, like the movie theater and Suncoast Video. They were next to each other, and you guys were there. And there was across from you was Babbage's. I remember the whole thing. And
wow,
dude, I totally remember this like clearly in my head. And I know you and JD are not much older than me. And I was like, oh my God, there are people close to my age like selling comics. What is this?
Yeah, those are the days.
And I went and I actually bought like everything you had. I remember I bought, what was it, Dreamweaver? And there was another one I bought.
Probably Reaver.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have them in my boxes.
Right.
In my
I mean,
drawer.
what's funny is that JD, he's lettering Dreamweavers right now.
Really?
He's having it like recolored and remastered.
Oh,
I mean,
awesome.
he already put out the first issue, so now he's working on the second issue. So that should be coming out soon. It's like time really is a flat circle.
That's awesome. And then later on, I bought your Tall Tales. Oh wait, was Tall Tales there? No,
It should have been.
maybe. I remember I bought individual issues, and
Yeah.
then later when you put out the digest trades,
Uh-huh.
I bought those.
Right.
And actually, that's what your Tall Tales is now. It's about right. That's on Kickstarter.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's essentially the continuation of the story that you started, that we both started back then. That first story arc that you picked up at the mall that started the whole thing. It's 4 volumes, and this is technically the 5th volume. It's a new story arc, but it continues the story that the first story arc told in those 4 volumes.
Okay,
So,
that's great. Send me the link.
Oh, yeah, that would help,
and
right?
I'll post it in there. There was a comment, but we will get to that after Ed introduces himself.
Oh,
So, Ed, please tell us about you.
sorry. Deadlines. I'm still working as we're talking. This is like we're hanging out in the same studio.
Yeah.
My name's Ed Smith, comic book artist, cartoonist. I've worked on independent published stuff. The only thing that I've worked on that has teeth in actual big house publishing was the Telos Tribute hardcover graphic novel. I know Daphne. I don't think she will remember me, but back when I first started going to conventions and I was just trying to get my name everywhere, I hit her up to do a couple of pinups in.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. JM, I know I've seen him at conventions, but honestly, I don't approach writers. Not that they're not crafted and like skillful and masters of their trade, but it's like, how do I help a writer? Hey, can I draw the letter Q for you? Like, how do I help a writer?
Well, I'm an artist as well. I do both.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
So he doesn't need me. I just wave hi, JM, and then just keep.
No,
going.
Occasionally I work with other people for projects. Yeah, when you do as much as I do, and I'm not trying to brag.
No, brag away. Be proud of your
I need help from other people. Yeah,
I'll
it's
watch
just.
your cat.
Yeah, well, I don't know what she's doing now. She stole a paper off the table to go chew on it, which is new for her. What's up?
She wants your attention, Dad.
Yeah, I know she does. What's up, lady? Yep, here she comes. Yeah, but
I've worked with Source Point Publishing on a 4-issue graphic novel, 4-issue floppies. Second place. It was written by Ben Goldsmith, who now lives on the West Coast. Congratulations, Ben. I hope you're living the life. I've worked for it was a collectible card game called Hellbringers. I did some illustrations for that card series, and a couple of books that they took from the card series and translated into comics. What else have I done? I've done covers for the Ominous Adventures of Poppy and Poe. Currently, I'm working on an online webcomic, which is a spin-off of Giant Girl Adventures. It's called Danger Team, and that's kind of the deadline that I'm trying to meet tonight. Fleshing out a project of my own. It's Skies Over Gutenberg. It's about a kid that wants to be a superhero, but he really hasn't had the chance to do it. And when he does get the chance, he's a little too old. So he has a lot of self-doubt. he wants to be a superhero, but he's like, I don't know, can I do this? It's an allegory for my insecurities of becoming a comic book artist at this point in my life. So it's going to work out really well. There's going to be a lot of subtext to it. But yeah, I mean, I do a lot of illustrations for one of my buddies who does his own his own T-shirts, Ruckus Tees. He has his own branded mascot. It's Grumpy Ruckus. It's just really a caricature of him sitting there all angry with his arms crossed. And he had a charity event recently for Extra Life, I think it is. It's a Boston children's charity where he plays video games for 24 hours, and all the proceeds go to the Boston Children's Hospital. And one of the promotions was for people to donate $100, and I would draw them as a Grumpy. And we got about 14 takers on that.
Oh,
So we had to have this great big giant messenger conversation with 14 different people over what they wanted. I've got almost all of them mapped out. I just need to get to work on them. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Jack of all trades, master of none.
And I just heard from Ray Felix. That was all the beeps if you've heard him. The dings going on. He is logging in. Now, I do have a question from Life on Saturn again. Have you all started at Blue Sky?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I'm following you guys. So
I'm on it too. I haven't really explored it. I've been on it, I don't know, almost a year now, I think.
so I've been on it since you had to be invited.
That was the same with me.
Yeah. So it was already locked and loaded. I was,
Yeah, I don't even use threads at all. I know I see a lot like things come up, and some from like you guys when you post on threads, and then I'll scroll or be like, JM posted on threads, and come up on my Instagram, and I'll look, but I don't know if I can handle another social media now. That's the thing.
If memory serves, threads is connected. It's interconnected.
Yeah, with
Instagram, yeah.
Yeah,
So
as long as you
post
keep
one and share it to all.
as long as you keep the word count low enough. If you go over a certain amount of characters or words, it won't post to threads because it wants to break it up. But
I might
you
have
just
posts you guys on threads. I don't know.
Well, I haven't posted on. I played around with threads in the beginning, but the vibe was off. I just couldn't get into it. Blue Sky, I'm having better results with. But as with any social media, it depends. It really depends on how you curate it. Not just what you post, but who you follow as well. I think what I like about Blue Sky the most is that it's not algorithm driven. So I actually see the people that I follow.
yeah.
And I don't have like weird, really, really weird stuff popping up in my in my feed. But also the best thing about it is that I'm seeing a lot more engagement on my work than I ever did on Twitter. Yeah, it's like in the end you have to focus on the social media that works for you. I know it's a lot because it's just too many. It's like there just comes a point where it's like, yeah, there's just too many of them, and it's like you don't want to spend all your time trying to like sow seeds in ground where it will not grow, so stick with the ones that look like they're doing something for you.
Yeah,
And
each one seems to have its own niche too.
Yeah,
Like if you want to film clips, TikTok is okay, but that just seems to thrive on any sort of clash. If you create like tension, people are gonna go to it.
Yeah.
And I don't need that. I just need to go outside and I can see that.
Right, exactly.
I want to see cool comics,
I agree. I've been on Facebook and Instagram the longest, and that's, you know, for the Wiz, I feel like that's where I get my best engagement. I haven't
Yeah.
tried it anywhere else yet. I did try Twitter a while back with it, and it just wasn't working. But I have friends who swear by Twitter. And recently I tried to log on, and it says I made a violation and my account was locked. And everybody I lost all my followers. Anybody I followed was gone. And when I tried to like find out what my violation was to fight it, they wanted me to pay. They wouldn't even go to the violation screen. They're like, "Oh, you can upgrade and pay to."
Oh yeah. Well, how nice of them to have done the work for you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can just leave with a clean conscience.
So, I mean, I might explore Blue Sky, but especially since what you said, Daphne, about the algorithm, you can
Yeah.
actually see the people that
Yeah.
might be nice
Yeah.
for a change.
Right, exactly. All I see is art all the time. It's
That's
great.
That's
It's great.
So, I'm wondering where Ray is right now because he said logging in, and that was a little bit ago. Anyway, so for first of all, again, thank you all for coming on. I really appreciate it. What I want to do is kind of spotlight each of you, like I said, and you know, whether it's going to any of the links you sent me. Actually, Ed, you haven't sent me any links. Can you send me anything that I could post in the chat so people can find your work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll do it.
Yeah, cool. You can send in the private chat and I'll copy and paste it.
Cool.
But yeah, let's start. Well, Daphne, you have a Kickstarter that's going to end in 2 days, so let's start with your Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think somebody posted her Kickstarter. So yeah, it's already in the comments, guys. You should definitely check it out. I mean, I wouldn't have hit her up all those years ago if she wasn't worth it.
Let me put Ed's stuff in the comments, and then we'll go to your page here.
I'm actually kind of jealous of Daphne because she uses lithographs, and her inks are like incredibly clean.
Oh,
and
thank you.
To go, like, she goes over them with colored pencils, so there's like this really clean ink line work, and then it's just a nice soft, almost like French coloring, where it's like it doesn't seem like it was made in the U.S. It seems like it was made
thank you.
in Canada or Europe. it's really good.
I mean,
you know,
I like to
done on
consider
a
it
machine.
kind of like a faux anime style, honestly. it just morphed into something different, you know. Yeah, so this is my campaign. Like I said, I have, you know, for the trade paperback. So this is Tears of the Mother, which is the second story arc of my series that started back in '92. And this collects issues 1 through 4 of the of this 8-issue this 8-issue story arc that we have. So you know, like I said, it's a direct continuation of the original Thieves Quest story arc, which you can also get on this campaign. And what it's about is about this group of friends and warriors who, at this moment, their original quest has ended, but technically it's far from over. They are now continuing their adventures because in the last story arc, they ended up inadvertently in the middle of a burgeoning war between the rats and the trolls, and a city has and a city is kind of like in between this altercation, and on top of everything, there's a plague going through the city, and the only way the city can survive a siege by the Calazarians, who are the rats, the group has to find a magic fountain that could heal the plague so that the city would have the strength to fight back. But it requires them to go through this magic maze, just full of monsters and, creatures just not wanting, just not interested in having adventurers poking around there. So that collects. So, like I said, this collects issues 1 through 4 of this 8-issue series.
This is great. I mean, I got to be honest. It's been so long since I read it. I need to read it to really remember. But I do love one of the things. Like, oh my God, who is this now? No. I'm still talking with Ray in my phone. I hear the beeps. Yeah, no, but I remember really enjoying this, and I actually remember copying your characters out quite a bit.
Oh,
design. And you know what really got me is when
What?
you look at the these main characters here, and you see somebody like this, one of the knights, the amount of detail for the chainmail. And I don't have the patience to do that as an artist.
I keep trying to I keep reminding myself that I need to make just like a pattern, a digital pattern that I could just put in. But I ended up just doing it by hand anyway. I guess it's just the habit of doing it after all these years. So even though most of my work is digital now, some habits are hard to break.
Yeah.
Actually, I understand that because I'm trying to find a shorthand for things like chainmail, and I always wind up drawing all the links anyway. And it's
Yeah.
same thing with bricks. I just draw every single one.
That's something that because like I use Clip Studio Paint, and it's like you can download assets and stuff for that. But the thing is, I haven't really gotten the hang of using it because they look like assets. Like it doesn't match my style, so it stands out a lot. So I end up having to remake them anyway.
I'm using Clip Studio more and more now than anything, and I'm really loving the software.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've downloaded some things just to play with.
Right.
And some of it has been backgrounds, but you're right, it's not my style.
Yeah.
And so what I end up doing is just drawing right over it.
Right, yeah.
And going in my style. Hold on, look who we got.
That's what I do.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's Ray Felix.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hey.
Hello.
Happy Thanksgiving. I was just cooking right now, so that's why I'm late.
Were you cooking for Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Oh, both. I was doing a little bit of both.
You gotta get that 24-hour start.
And it depends how long the show is. If I end early tonight, I'm going to be starting cooking just to get a few things out of the way.
Yeah, I'm doing the pork takes 6 hours. So the turkey's tomorrow, that's seasoned. The pork thing takes 6 hours. It got 2.5 hours more to go. Soup's done, mashed potatoes done, sweet candied yams are done. I just got to do macaroni tomorrow, rice, and turkey. That's it.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe I should skip my family and come over there. Sounds good there. So anyway, Ray, Daphne is just telling us about her Kickstarter, which ends in a couple of days of Tall Tales.
Very cool.
Let's just continue with that.
But the thing with Clip Studio, it's like, so it's like it's a great program, but it's like that's what I end up doing too. Like I bring in assets and then I just redraw them and re-ink them so that it fits in.
I make my own.
It's like I just keep forgetting to do that.
Well, if you just draw a small square, like a chain link pattern, and then duplicate it over and over and fill up like one of your standard template sheets. There you go. And then you save that as a document and you can copy it over anytime you need.
Like right now I'm looking at like how to make like crowd brushes.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, that's a little bit more complicated because you have to draw like all the individual characters to make the brush. And then and I think that's probably the hardest part.
Oh,
Getting that variation.
Well, you've got model sheets for your characters, right? You must by now.
Not the way you would think. Like a lot of it's like because usually it's like I really don't do a lot of artistic preparation for this. When I do a comic. It's like I'm the type that just like, okay, let's just dive into the pages, you know. It's like, and then it's like I can work on it from there, huh?
Something I'm learning is that preparation is everything.
And
if you set up things using vector layers, you can come back to that file later and then copy it and bring it over to a new document, and you don't lose any resolution. You can blow it up, you can shrink it, you've still got your resolution, and you just saved yourself hours on end of recreating
I've been doing that with some of my backgrounds. Like
there's also a way to make them into 3D backgrounds.
Right.
I haven't cracked that code yet, but I'll let you know when I do.
Yeah, it's just a Clip Studio. There's a lot you can do in it.
Yeah, they hide a lot in there.
Yeah.
I'm watching videos on that. I'm going on YouTube at least every few days to learn something new.
Yeah.
You can just ask me, Mike. You can just ask me.
I might have to do like a video chat with you one day and be like,
anytime.
Yeah, because what I'm doing, like I haven't actually started on the comics yet that I want to start, like my long format. The Wiz I'll do in there. I have a template. I'm easy, you know, it's easy. But like the long formats that I'm finalizing the scripts on and character designs. I don't know how many times I've watched a tutorial on how to make borders. You know, like how to make panels properly.
Those are super.
Those things confuse me sometimes because there's like 3 different ways, and then I'm like, oh, you know, how do I do? Because I've decided, this is what, as you all know, I'm colorblind. I have decided that I'm just going black and white using tone, and so I'm learning about different ways to tone in there. And that's what I've been watching a lot of videos, watching other people just drawing and seeing their process and stuff. But I think Ed, I'll be bothering you one day and be like, hey,
no bother,
just give me a lesson.
Yeah.
So.
And I think they're running a sale right now on upgrades.
Oh yeah, they're always running sales.
There's one for Clip Studio 3. I think I'm on version 2. But I watched the little trailer, and some of the upgrades are pretty much worth it. Like there's the 3D figures, the mannequins. They're like, oh, you could have the mannequins mimic a pose from a photograph.
Right, okay, I saw that. Yeah.
And I can rotate the mannequin to whatever angle I need. And then there are filters to change the tones of an image you've already colored. Like, I want it to be more blue. I want it to look like summer. You just run it through these filters, and it's great. I had to teach myself the perspective rulers and some of the parallel rulers to just. Oh yeah, you know, there's a specific ruler, Daphne, in Clip Studio. You know how if you're drawing, say, like a brooch or something, and it has to be symmetrical on both sides, you just run this ruler down the middle, draw one half, and it does the other half.
That's a really fun one. I was playing around with that. Yeah.
I got a lot of great stuff.
It's the symmetrical ruler. Yeah, that's really fun.
I was like last week. I watched a video on all the rulers. It was a 30-minute video, I think. And just here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. But
you just sit through it, and you're like, man, I just want to get to the end. I want to get. Why aren't you showing what I want to know?
Exactly.
And you wind up learning all this extraneous stuff that just sits in the back of your mind, and you use.
Well,
later.
right, and then
look at how clean that is.
These are all pretty graphs. I think it's like I started like really using Clip Studio Paint and like converting to digital, like probably like in the last like several months. But it's like up until then, it's like I've been doing everything by hand. But
And that masthead page, that looks
yeah.
like some Thai
That
temple.
belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to try out the series before like committing to the Kickstarter, you can download a free copy of a whole issue to check out. Yeah, this is from the Thieves Quest story arc, the previous books, which you can get on this campaign. But yeah, so it's like you can just check out the story. Yeah, I'll say, oh, that looks really good.
The continuation from
It does.
20.
I'm sorry. Someone said something. I missed it.
I said, is that the same one that you would? Is that like continued from the one you did in 2020? Or
Yeah. No, this has been the same story since '92.
oh wow, continuing.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's an epic. It's like we do the one thing we tell everybody not to do. Don't make your first comic an epic.
Oh,
I remember Denny O'Neil used to say that. You know,
Yeah.
I was just like, well, what about Iron Man? The drunken story took over a year, and they got
Yeah, but it was Neil Adams, so I think that might be a little different. No, that was Batman. Neil Adams was Batman. Yeah, I think. I don't think Neil Adams did Iron Man, did he?
no, Denny O'Neil. Denny O'Neil is.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking about the artist. Yeah. Denny O'Neil's the writer.
Start from the beginning.
Right. Yeah. So like I said, it's like the entire, because everything is connected, so you can pick up the books from the beginning. So if you wanted to start off with the first trade paperback and continue all the way through. So any books that you missed on previous campaigns, that's all here on this campaign as well.
Yeah. Man. I got to go back and I got to look for these, but I think I have 5 issues of the
original.
I don't know, the digest one that you
right.
Yeah, so those.
So you're like Wendy Peeney of indie comics now.
Oh my God, I wish. I wish.
Oh, have you talked to her? I'm sure she'd love to be your friend.
All right. I mean, it's like I've spoken more to Richard than to Wendy. It's like I guess like Wendy is just like way too busy, so Richard is a lot more available.
If you can run into them at a con to chat with
Yeah.
I did a show. I forget how long. Oh, Free Comic Book Day it was. I was at the Croton. I think just Croton Comics is the name of it. Maybe they have a different name, but it was Croton, New York. I was up there, and her and her husband walked in, and I had a really nice conversation with her.
That's cool.
About,
Excuse
I
me.
talked to her for a good 10-15 minutes. She was really, really nice. And they have a new collection coming out soon, I believe.
Oh, I just got all the ElfQuest covers, and there were 2 art books in that campaign that I had to pick up as well, and it's like, oh my God, it's like it's like I've been following that woman from the beginning almost.
Yeah. I have a friend who worked on one of the books coming out.
Oh, cool.
They did a spin-off, I think, for a while back in the.
Oh yeah, they were doing a lot of those. Yeah.
Like late '80s, maybe early '90s, and my friend drew some of the issues.
Oh, that's cool.
I got to get him on the show one day. But this looks fantastic.
Yeah. So also it's like if you can get on this campaign, my other book, Eagle Raven, the 3 volumes that are there. So pretty much you can collect all my stuff on this one campaign, and the campaign does end Friday.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I did what did I do? I read the first 2 issues of Eagle Raven, and then supporting Kickstarters became difficult financially for.
Well, right, yeah.
I'm gonna have to wait till I see you at a show to pick these up.
Oh no, sure.
But yeah, no, I was really enjoying Eagle Raven.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a little different from Tall Tales.
Yeah,
it's very different. Tall Tales is more of like the action adventure type, like Disney meets Lord of the Rings, while Eagle Raven is more like The Witcher meets the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
So
did someone have a question? I'm sorry.
no, I said sold.
Oh, sold. I thought you said so. Yeah. No. That's great. Listen, you guys, the Kickstarter is in the comments already. Please go check this out. Go back this. I'm gonna have to check out what I have. I'm gonna be pulling out my boxes if they're not on the shelf. See what I have.
I mean, we've done so many different versions of Tall Tales, like printing wise, just playing around with format, that it's like, yeah, I don't even remember like all the different versions that we've done.
But yeah, you guys, and seriously, go on the page and download the first. It's not the first comic.
No, it's not. I just picked like a random issue.
Yeah, but the artwork looks fantastic. You'll get a really good feel of the story. That's what we were looking at before. This one here.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no, that is awesome. Let's pull up. JM, do you want your Etsy or your Dark Fire Press? Would you rather show?
I guess you could go to Darkfire Press. We just put out 3 new books, so none of them mine, but we got those. Yeah, because we just put out Jennifer the She-Wolf and whatchamacallit, Wolf Girls, and 2nd volume of Wonder Duck. Yeah, so I've been so busy with conventions, it feels like I can't get enough of my own work done right now, but that's where we are. But yeah, those all came out within the last couple of weeks. Waiting for them to be available on Indie Planet because, of course, they take their own time with it over at Kablam. But I don't know. Has anybody tried out the fulfillment from, what is it? Why can't I think? Not Greco. They have their Comics Wellspring.
I haven't used them, but I've looked at them. Ray, you've used Comic Wellspring, right? Or no? No? Okay. I'm sorry. I know I spoke to someone who uses them. I don't.
Well, I know Dom and Lydia do.
Maybe that's who I was. And you know what? I feel bad. I should have asked them to come on tonight because I love their work as well.
I use Mix'em, and they're pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, Mix'em. Yeah, I use Mix'em for the trade paperbacks. This is Mix'em.
Very good quality, good customer service, and they give you proofs. Unlike
well, here's the thing now. I don't mind using somebody like Mix'em, right? But my biggest thing is fulfillment. So if I can get a company that can do the shipping or even distribute, that's better for me than just doing the runoffs. I've always heard good things about Mix'em, don't get me wrong.
They do distribution now as well.
They started like 6 months ago. They started
about I think a year ago they started.
Really? Yeah, something. Yeah, it's like that you can sell the books through them or something.
Yep. They do the distribution for you if you want to go that route.
So is it like print on demand then, or is it
print on demand, and you also have the option to? I think it's been more than that. I think 2022 is when they started that.
Oh dang, time flies.
In a while.
I've heard a lot of people who use Mix'em, and I've seen it at shows. I ask around and the stuff looks great.
It looks great, and then you'll get a phone call from England if there's something wrong with your books.
Really?
Plants are in the U.S., but their customer service is all Europe.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh man.
Did
Yeah.
you-
So well, yeah, I might look into Comics Wellspring. If Mixam also has that deal, I'll look at them as well, you know. But it's not even a problem with like housing the books, but I know I can't drive enough traffic to my site
Yeah.
to get people to buy it. So I want to be on platforms where people are shopping.
You might have to start OnlyFans or something for comics.
You know what?
I've
I'll
seen
tell you,
it.
Ray.
I've seen people do that.
I'll tell you, Ray. If I started an OnlyFans, I'd be the one person not making any money on there.
I have a friend who's an author, and she started one too. I've never been on it. All right, I'm going to tell you. All I know is from what she says she does. She like reads from her book while she like sits in a swimming pool,
Oh,
or
that's funny.
she does
It's painting
from her book while she plays with something with her feet.
Oh, oh, that'll do it.
I am like, oh my god.
And at that point, you don't need to do comics.
When they told me that, I cracked up laughing. I thought that was, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It requires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also now you're in winter, so you know, how does the reading in the pool go now? You know.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I never asked if sales went up, but
Oh, they do.
I
Well, it's not the book.
don't necessarily think it would, you know.
yeah.
You
It's
have to
kind of
have
like
nice
it's an alternate source of income. It's not,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if she is reading from the book, you know, that might only translate to maybe 5% sales, you know. But yeah, I mean, you could, because some of the other ones at the top of the site, I do have the Kirkland Horror up there, which is, again, my latest novel. That one's top right on, you know, very proud of that novel. I know we're on a comic show, but, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, so it's, you know, because I use Ingram Spark for my novel distribution. So we got Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I know it's on other sites too and such, but actually I have something Black Friday at night in Newark, New Jersey, where I'm going to be reading from my book. I don't know why. The book's been out like a year, and more recently I've been asked to do more author events for it.
Oh, that's
And that's
cool.
the second novel I've done, you know.
Why don't you do an impromptu reading right now? I wonder what's it about?
It's I swear to God, I started writing it before COVID. It's very Lovecraftian in a lot of ways, but it's about a plague that starts wreaking havoc through a city. And it's kind of in the last days of that plague, and no one really knows what's causing it. So you follow 4 different characters in the novel who are having different experiences and are in different places in society. But in the end, you kind of have to read all the stories so the reader themselves can piece together what's going on. It's not like, you know, any one of them gets the full picture.
I love.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I like more and more as I develop as a storyteller, I like leaving things open. And not to the point of getting like all weird and artsy fartsy and saying, oh, you bring your own interpretation to it or whatever, you know, but I do like allowing the reader to have an active participation in the storytelling process. Yeah. I mean, on the comics end, you know, because again, I was talking about Chadiana, I'm getting more into the like visual cues and symbolism and stuff like that in the artwork, so that you know, certain things will be, I don't know if you can download over there, Mike, but Michael, you could probably click on the little icon underneath the cover that lets you like look inside. It downloads a PDF. Yeah. So these are sample pages from the first one. But yeah, I'm trying more and more to get into using certain imagery to help tell the story in the sense of like, So Chadiana's story, I jump around through different periods of time in her life. So using the visuals to be a cue, instead of telling you like, oh, this is happening here at this time in her life, like just having certain things there that can cue the reader into what they're looking at. Or they could ignore it and just enjoy the story for what it is and not think too hard about it. Same thing with revealing her background. I don't want to do an origin story per se. I'd rather sprinkle stuff throughout the series, so that you can kind of piece together a clearer picture of her and what she's been through, and also through her adventure too, kind of reading the different stories, piecing things together.
This is great.
Cool.
Yeah, so I had 2 other artists helping with me. Helping me with
The first
it.
story was your artwork, right?
The first one is my art. The second art is, God. So she got married. So I always get it's hard for me to remember how to pronounce the name. Her name, she was published under Dana Sanguir. She was a student of mine. Well, I was kind of mentoring her, not like a full-blown student. Wait a second. She's like since graduated, and how do you pronounce her last name? Her new last name is Shimoskevich. Okay, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So she was the one I hired on for the second story, and then the third story is a friend of mine, Jackie Musto, who lives up in Massachusetts. She's actually done quite a lot of comic work. She was working on 2 simultaneous web comics where she was doing 2 pages for one a week and 1 page for another a week. So it was like 3 pages a week she was putting out, which was like insane. And she did it for years. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, these are all great,
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, you know me. Listen, I love your character here. I know it took me like 5 years of being friends with you to learn how to say her name properly.
It was funny. I know that, and a lot of people do have trouble with it. I was on a live stream the other day when I was at Mannheim Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
The guy got it first try right out of the gate, But that happens maybe 30% of the time,
Terrible, but yeah, this is gorgeous stuff. This is a great character too.
Yeah, so issue 1 had 3 stories in it. Issue 2 is a standalone, another story in her, in her saga. And then, of course, I've been sitting on issue 3 for a while now, trying to get the edits done on it just to get it out finally. I'll be honest. There was a period of time where I loved the artwork on it, and then I went through a really loathing period about the art because I worked on issue 3 myself, and it was I thought it was the greatest thing I ever created, and then it was like the shittiest thing I ever created. So I kind of had to let it gestate for a bit.
Oh, that old gag.
Yeah. I got to get over it because, man, she's already had some hiccups in her publishing history because I was publishing with a friend and then went into self-publishing because that deal was not working out well between us. We're still friends, but we just business-wise didn't work out well together. And then I was putting up a webcomic weekly of her, and then I got picked up by a publisher, and that seemed like it was going to be a good deal. And then I never got paid. I never saw any sales numbers. And that was like 5 years of my IP locked up because they also had a department that could handle subsidiary rights. So I wasn't allowed to do anything with it while they still had the contract. Yeah. So at some point I just stopped turning stuff in.
Well, if they weren't paying you, if they were forgetting to pay you, you just forget to give them pages.
Actually, so what's a really funny thing is though, like I helped them out with a Kickstarter way back when, and of all the people in it, there was one team that got more sales on comics than I did, but I had the most single person sales on the whole Kickstarter. And I was working my ass off to like get people to that Kickstarter. Even if they weren't supporting me, they would buy something on the Kickstarter.
Right.
And they successfully funded, and it helped them like launch like a move into a higher level with their production. And yeah, I always felt bad about it because people would ask me like, hey, I remember supporting that Kickstarter. It's like, I never got any money. So don't take it personally. Like I never got paid anything for any of it,
Crazy.
But I don't know. I've heard people talk about how sometimes companies will buy up IPs so that they can just like hold them in case something goes. And sometimes I feel like that's what was going on with this one. But I'm not sure, So yeah, there was that. And then when I started putting out the new series, it's kind of like a soft reboot, which this first issue was. We had the pandemic, and that kind of got a little weird too. So not just the pandemic, but I remember I was in a group, so I can't say what the group was because it's supposed to be very private, but I do remember a lot of comic shops saying like, if you guys are out there selling books online right now, we will blacklist you from our stores. You will never be on our shelves.
Dang.
So yeah, and I was just like, all right, well, I guess I'm just like not publishing for a little while, Yeah.
And this was during the time of Kickstarter or before?
That was during the pandemic.
And during
During
the
the pandemic, yeah.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah. It was to the indie publishers.
Yeah. It
was kind of like, we're not going to get fulfillment from Marvel and DC right now, so you guys either support us or you're never getting in.
Yeah. No, because I would go to certain comic shops, one no longer in existence, but I would talk with the owner about Kickstarters that I've been seeing, and some were recommended to me or whatever, and I would ask, where are you finding books? Where are you doing? And this is when we were allowed in, when we weren't in. I'd message them, and if they had like a retailer, level, one of them that I would speak to would back them quite often. It was just big supporter of the indies. That's just the way it was. That I don't
of course.
That mentality,
No, I don't either. In fact, when I ran a Kickstarter for Chadiana, which I still have to fulfill, I'm very behind on that. Outing myself for all the bad behavior. But anyway, that one, I had a tier for comic shops to get like a super good discount on. Like, I think they would wind up with like a couple issues either free or at cost, and then the other ones would just be X amount extra, and I didn't have a single store back it,
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why.
I think that's pretty common.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
not a lot of stores really go through Kickstarter. I mean, honestly, for a while, it just seemed like there was a lot of animosity between retailers and Kickstarter. To tell you the truth.
right.
So,
Well, that's why distribution's so important to me, because I just feel like anytime, I don't, it could just be something I'm not very good at or what, but like I feel like if somebody else deals with talking to the comic shops or the bookstores that already has an in there, it's just easier for me.
right,
Yeah.
And I you guys are out there, check out Darkfire Press, check out all this stuff. Go, pick these up. These are great books. I actually read, I don't know if I read this version, but I read Jennifer the She-Wolf.
Right. I think I think from what Lewis had sent me, he updated it.
Okay.
And he's getting issue 2 together because he only had the one issue out. He had like a black and white segment, which might have been all that was there.
Yeah.
And then he added a color segment to it. And that either was partially redone or all redone, or maybe he didn't have it before. I'm not quite clear on it. But it's funny too, like you can see that Global Comics button right there. For whatever reason, I've been on Global Comics since they started. They had approached me when they were first launching the site. And I've always made sales on there, like through Darkfire Press and even my own books on it, which are through Darkfire Press as well, my publishing company. But I don't know what changed in the last month, but all of a sudden I'm seeing like a higher volume of sales than I've seen in like however many years I've been on the platform.
Oh.
I don't know why suddenly it's getting attention, but I do know that they finally got like I know Image is on the platform. I know DC just signed on. Valiant's there. I don't know if Marvel is yet or not, but maybe just the rise in bigger publishers has given it more eyes, and then that is translating into just more people checking out even indie books on the site. I don't know, but
let me ask you about those books. I'm not too familiar. I know about them, but is it just digital comics, or can you buy the actual print from them?
So right now it's just digital. I know they were in talks with, if I'm not, well, I shouldn't say who, because I don't know that deal even came through. There was a upper level indie that was making some waves a couple of years back. And they supposedly were going to start doing print on demand fulfillment for Global Comics, but I don't know if that happened because it doesn't seem to be available. But the way Global Comics works is they have two systems. One, you can offer a certain amount of pages free, and then, after that, like people have an account and they just pay per page that they read, and you get like, part of that fee that they paid to read the next page. And it's small, so you see like, I don't know, maybe 30 cents after they read through a bunch of the comic, but they buy it in point sets. They're not spending the money on each page. It's like, they buy 500 points or whatever. And Global Comics does all the translating stuff for you. And you can do a guided view. They have a backdoor thing to do your guided views for it too, which I have not taken great advantage of yet. They have good, metrics and analytics on the back end too, that you can see like who's reading and how they're getting to your comic. But they also have a buy it system now where you can get like a downloadable PDF of the comic you buy. What's interesting about that though, because I used it once just to see how it would work, you will get a PDF that has a like purchase number and your name on it. So it's an individual PDF to you. It's all the way on the back page or the last page of the PDF, but it kind of like, not that they're selling NFTs per se, but like at least you have like your copy, so to speak.
Well, and also if that PDF makes the rounds, they'll know who did it.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Which is another thing, I mean, listen, not that I at all am in favor of it. I do know that a little bit of piracy sometimes helps spread your work.
Right.
But, I don't feel like going into the poorhouse because nobody's buying it because it's on some, excuse me, but like Russian site where they're like just giving it out for free,
I mean, ironically, I've bought manga that way. Like I would find it on a pirate site, and then it's like, oh, let me get the actual book.
So there's
and then I would go get it.
So there's a funny thing that you mentioned though. A lot of people, and I've heard the conversation coming up more, that like mangas are much more popular than comics right now. But from what I understand, I heard some, I don't know, opinion or whatever on it, but it seemed to be that manga is traditionally more pirated than like American comics are. So young
Yeah, it's
people,
very pirated. I mean,
right,
that's where I usually like I sometimes I don't even realize it's on the pirate site is.
right,
And it's like I realize, oh, I'm on a pirate site, and then it's like,
mhm,
but I like the manga enough that I'll go look for it.
right.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, like younger readers who don't have money, they have easy access to manga. So of course it's more popular because they are just able to
Oh, that's
get
an
access
interesting
to it.
theory.
Yeah.
I also heard, just the culture is okay with that. They're not upset with if somebody pirates their books. Artists doing fan art of their work.
Right. They're not
They
as uptight about it.
yeah, they see it as a way of promoting their book. Unless you're doing something that is making you a crap ton of money from their property,
Mhm.
Manga anime companies won't go after you. That is at least what I've heard.
Yeah.
But and I get I get their thought process.
It
but
does seem to be that way. Like even with mangas and like Japanese games that I enjoy, it does seem like there's just a little bit less, oversight on that stuff. Not that they wouldn't go after you, but yeah, there's a certain amount of leeway they seem to give, that brings up a whole other conversation.
And the
'Cause
fan
I'm
also the fan books have always been popular too for like since the 80s, that you'd have fans make their own versions
Yeah.
using the licensed characters and publishing them. That was very huge back in the day. It's still,
I mean, if you really think about it, it's like that's usually the story of how. Like, I know that I started getting into comics by doing my own like fanfic and fan art, and then just moving from there. And it's like there's a lot of people who do that. Like, it's like, oh, I got into this. Like there's certain authors that I've spoken to where it's like, oh yeah, I started writing by writing, like, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z fanfic or something, and then now they're like a best-selling author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I started
Yeah.
in the early days of the internet. I remember a friend of mine was doing an anime, and that he would post it publicly, and then anyone could continue the story. So it became like a chainmail comic, and that was like
oh, that sounds like fun.
it was like early 90s, I guess, like during the whole AOL time and early websites. So other people would pick up the story and just continue it. I thought that was pretty clever. You think something like that would catch on, like almost like a public domain type of thing?
Right. Well, it brings me to another, like, it's funny you mentioned that with the fan art and everything with the manga stuff. Even though I'm not big on artists who just do fan art, like I have an ethical problem with it, and I do feel, and I've always been telling people this, I feel like in the indie comics community, like if we started doing more fan art of each other's characters so that they were more noticeable in things like Artist Alley, it probably would be helpful to branding,
I don't know about that, because it's like, people nowadays at conventions, people want to see fan art of Deadpool. And
I know what you're
Daphne
saying.
Will Bill Watterson. Nobody's
It's
drawing
funny.
Calvin but me.
Yeah, no. But it's funny because I don't have that experience. Like I'm not only am I not big on people doing fan art. I don't mind if people did fan art of Chadi on it. Let me just put that out there. But I'm not big on people doing fan art of like non-licensed fan art. And even though I have done it, I'm not going to say that I haven't.
Well,
I'm
right.
trying to-
Yeah, we've all dabbled. We've all done it.
Right.
Yep.
But historically, and because I keep good numbers, I do not sell fan art at the rate I sell my original stuff.
Well, that's good.
So,
That's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
So I never understood fan art sells, because it's like, well, I don't know, maybe I'm like one of those like exceptions to the rule, but if I put it on the table, they just go right around it for something else.
Right.
It takes attention away from your own publishing,
Yeah.
That's what I learned. I really hate fan art. A few times I've done like blank covers, but then I'll take them off the table if they don't move in a few.
Yeah, but when you're doing a cover, like a sketch cover,
Yeah.
that's an original, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of people selling prints of characters they haven't worked on. If there's somebody who worked on Spider-Man and made some Spider-Man prints, great. That Spider-Man's what helped your career, and the character well enough. But if you're just some guy off the street drawing Spidey, then that's kind of where I have the issue. I've always been a fan, and I believe I saw a Facebook post once from Joe Woos, who talked about using more public domain characters, and I'm a huge supporter of the public domain characters out there, and I'm not saying find superheroes or whatever, but for like Daphne, like you, or JM, who kind of live in this fantasy world, there's so many great characters to pull from,
Well, that as far as like fan art, I consider them two different, because when I say fan art, I'm usually talking about like stuff that you don't have a license for. Public domain stuff I do okay with. I have Oz pieces, I have Wonderland pieces, and I do a lot of like the original Nosferatu. Like I do a lot of pieces on that. Those sell well.
Yeah.
So, and I've thought about doing some like mythical stuff, going to like Greek and Norse mythology and doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I'm all for that. I mean, it's still doesn't feed my soul the same way that doing my own stuff does. Not. Yeah.
I think the thing that I learned from there was a point where I was doing like fan art, because like everybody in the artist alley, they're all doing fan art. I'm competing with other fan art artists. Maybe I should do that. And because you kind of think that's like, if I can entice people with my fan art, I could probably get them to buy my book. And what I learned is that wasn't the case. That it's like the people who are attracted to fan art, they're not interested, or at least in my experience, they're not interested in your original stuff. They just want, do you have a Harley Quinn? Do you have a Deadpool? And then it's like, we want to check out my comic. No, do you have the Deadpool? I'm here for the Deadpool. And I stopped. I pretty much, once I really got the hint, I got, you know what? It's like, I'm just wasting my time drawing these prints when I could have been working on my stuff with that same effort. So, and in the end, those weren't. It wasn't the audience I wanted to attract.
Well,
absolutely. I agree.
That's been part of my my output the last couple of years. I tried to give the fan art thing one last go. So 2022 and 2023, I was really putting out a lot of fan art. I regret using those 2 years for it, because it's like some stuff did sell well, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm just like sitting on it now, and it's like, I don't even want this on the table. It doesn't make me feel any better about it. No. And because
the fan art that I did enjoy doing, they were too. I guess they weren't. They were too unpopular for the general audience. So even though I liked that fan art, it was kind of like defeating the purpose of doing fan art to begin with, because it didn't have the fan base that I was trying to attract. So it was kind of like, yeah, it was kind of soul sucking.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like you're competing with yourself.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
In the end, yeah,
it's like
uh,
you're promoting, you're giving them free advertising. Why
yeah.
bother? You know.
All right. All right. I'm just so Ray. I sent you something in the private chat, but I didn't know if you saw it, so I just texted it to you. So, but yeah, no. I mean that could be a whole episode here
Yeah.
to talk
Yes.
about
Yeah.
fan art and stuff. But I want to move on because I don't want to keep you guys too late, especially if you guys have to do any cooking for tomorrow. But let's move on to Ed here and take a
Wow.
look at what he's and this comic that's up is your work right now, correct, Ed?
Yes, that's it's a flashback sequence from Danger Team. The first issue is about this guy Hawkins, who's a reporter. He's a freelance reporter, but you're giving the impression that he has integrity.
Okay.
Stories. And he's like, no, I'm running these stories. I've got facts to back them up, and it's the right thing. So his boss calls him in one day, and he's like, I want you to write a story about what happened to the Danger Team. And he throws an old magazine at him. He picks it up, and he's like, what the hell is this? You got me doing like fluff pieces? What are we, the National Enquirer now? And the boss is like, you get $2,000 plus expenses. Go get me my story. So he finds one of the old members of the Danger Team, and he sits down and he interviews him. And he's like, yeah, so you guys were around in 99. What happened? And the guy tells him the story of what happened to his team. And he's like, that's great. But you mentioned that there were other Danger Teams. So where are they? Why haven't I heard of them? He's like, well, if you want more information about that, you're going to have to talk to the guys at the agency. Now, in this comic universe, the agency is like the Men in Black. Like, they defend the planet, and like they're super hush-hush. Nobody remembers ever meeting them. They're spoken about in myths. So that guy in the last panel there, that's Agent Smith. He's one of the Men in Black. So they're talking about the Men in Black in this diner, and the reporter goes home, and he's sitting down to type some of his article, and all of a sudden he gets a little pop-up on his computer screen, and they're like, oh, would you like to speak to the agency? He's like, well, what the hell's going on with my my antivirus software here? It's not blocking out the pop-ups. And he clicks on it. He's like, I guess there's a problem with my software. He closes it out, and it pops up again, and it says, are you sure you want to close this out? You sure you don't want to talk to the agency? He's like, yeah, I guess there's something wrong with that software. And he hears from behind him, yeah, you probably have a problem. He turns around, and there's 3 agents in his apartment behind him. So he's like, what are you doing in my apartment? Why are you guys here? He's like, well, we heard you on recording devices over at this diner. We've been monitoring you since you left. You have questions. We have answers. We're here to give them to you. And he's like, all right, so tell me what you can tell me. They tell him about Danger Team 99. Danger Team 99 died at the height of Y2K. And they show him a holographic recording of the last moments of Danger Team 99. And this is what happens. There's like a villain who's like a wizard and casts a spell using like all the fear and darkness of people's feelings about Y2K. And if it doesn't get stopped and shut down, it's going to destroy the planet. It's going to kill everybody. And Amon-Ra, who's a member of the group, he's like, yeah, we can stop this, but we have to hold hands and we have to band together and take all that negative energy and give it a place. We need to give it, like, sacrifice ourselves for that energy. And it'll stop the curse. And everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's save him. And the big guy there, his name is Johnny Danger. he's essentially like Shazam. He's a little kid given the powers of a superhero, like a god, and he's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? We're gonna save the world. Come on. He's like, no. I'm an 11-year-old kid. I need to live my life. I'm not doing this. And then his friend there, her name's White Lightning. She's like, yeah, I'm a wife. I have a husband and kid at home. Like, I'm not doing this. But you got to read the rest. It'll be out on Friday. Friday is when the new pages come out. But yeah, it's really great. I love it because the theme to it is that the misfits from the Isle of Misfits are the only ones that can save the world. But unfortunately, every 11 years, they get destroyed and have to get reformed. Like the team has to be re-handpicked and retrained. And Hawkins is learning all about these guys. But,
so how long has this strip been running? That you've been doing this strip?
Wow, that right there is page 20, 24, 25. So it's a weekly strip. It's been going now for a couple months. Oh yeah, it's 25. Yeah, it's been going for about 29 weeks because we went on hiatus for like a month. Because this segment, there was a lot of detail in the background, and the script called for specific detail. Like, yeah, it's easy when you have to look stuff up and it's all imaginary. Hey, go look up a pyramid. Go look up a tree somewhere, you know? But the script called, in this case, for a specific Times Square rooftop bar in 1999. Yeah. So the opening,
I hope they gave you the reference.
I found it. I had to find it. And it was
dang.
Oh man. The beginning of the segment is an establishing shot, and it's the New York skyline, 1999. I'm like, where am I gonna find this? But I did find a nice high-res version of it, and I used it.
That's funny. So are you're working? So does it take you the entire week to do the page, or are you doing like different projects during the week, and then you just do like one page a week?
There it is. There's the establishing shot. I'm like, where am I gonna find this? And that was a daytime shot that I had to turn into a nighttime shot. Oh God, I gotta use my head. How is the light gonna work, and what happens here? But to answer your question, yes, it does take all week because I'm doing this strip and I'm working on other stuff. And there are times where my writer editor will be like, "Hey, I want you to, as an exercise, look at this and sketch these things out so that you can get a feel for what's coming up next in the story." And it's really great. This is where I'm cutting my teeth. Is I'm learning how to make really good comics. And if you were to go back and look at page 1 from this series and then look at the most recent page, you'd be like, I don't know where the guy from page 1 went, but the guy from page 25 is going places.
Yeah. So how do you keep yourself from like seeing that page 1 and going like, oh, I got to redo this?
I know, honestly, I look at those pages and I go, oh man, when I know what I know now, I could have done that so much better.
Right.
I'm going to move on to the next page and make it better than the page before.
That's good.
I don't have time to go back to page 1. I'm sure at some point when these all get collected and they get printed, I'm going to have a couple of moments to go back and redraw the pages that didn't really work. But for the most part, it's a learning experience that I just have to shut my ego off.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm just going to cry. Like,
right. Yeah, you don't want to end up those creators that would have like 5 versions of issue 1 instead of issues 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. By the way, this page looks fantastic. I'm
Thank you.
constantly-
Thank you.
This panel of the villain right here.
Oh no, that's Amon Ra. He's one of the heroes.
Oh, I'm
He's
sorry.
actually like Amon Ra.
Okay.
He's a living mummy.
Okay. I just
If,
love the raps, man.
If you hear him, like one of the lines he says, is it in that one? Where he says that this could kill a normal human being. This could kill even a god.
Yeah.
Like the subtext there is that Amon Ra is like, I'm better than you guys. I'm a living god. This could kill even me.
Huh.
And he's only like 5 foot nothing because Egyptians weren't that tall back when he was alive.
Well, you know, all the inbreeding.
Yeah.
So I remember my question. I was going to ask you, how many pages do you know how many pages this story arc will be that you're going to be doing, or?
Yeah. I'm the first issue was originally going to be 27 pages.
Okay.
Like after this story arc. All right, so next week you'll see what happened. Oh no, the next page you'll see what happened. I think it's already been posted. But this week's page is going to be 27. See, there you go.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to. Is that 20? That's 26,
That's
right?
24, I think. 24. And then the next page is 20. Because, I mean, I remember the last time you were on, you were telling me that at some point, if I remember correctly, this story is going to stop and Giant Girl is going to come back, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Yep.
So
That is going to be at the end of what was supposed to be the second issue.
okay.
But the writer editor, Sabrina, she's like, no, let's take issue 2 and fold it into issue 1. So it's going to be somewhere around 55 or 56 pages for the first issue.
So
Yeah,
is
that's
this a
25.
separate story running, or is it related to Giant Girl?
It's a spin-off of Giant Girl.
Ah.
This is like when Dee was drawing,
Yeah.
see her name up there in the title there, Dee Fish,
Uh-huh.
an amazing artist. When she
Right.
was drawing Giant Girl Adventures, I was reading them every week. And
Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
studying them and commenting. Like, I love the technique you did in this panel. And one day on my Facebook Messenger, I get a message from Sabrina. Hey, I noticed you commenting a lot on Giant Girl. Do you draw? Do you draw sequentials? And I said, yeah, I do, actually. She goes, can you give me any examples of your work? So I sent her like different pages I had done, like, you know, different like cartoon, comics, like drama. I sent her those and she's like, oh, really? Hey, why don't you look at these 2 scripts and tell me which one you'd like? And I've already told Sabrina this.
Right.
I let my wife read the scripts because I'm like, I got to draw comics. I can't look at these words.
Right.
So my wife, Autumn, tells me you'd be more suited to Danger Team than you would to this other book that she's
Right.
Scholars of the Impossible, which she's still shopping for. But Scholars of the Impossible is like X-Men meets Harry Potter.
Ah.
Okay, that's
So she knows that I would get mired down in details. She knows that, oh, well, if this character is casting this spell, you're really going to go look it up and you're really going to go find out like symbology and how the spell should work. And she's like, I know you. Danger Team is funny. It's superheroes. And I think you'd be great at it. So I went back and told Sabrina, I'm interested in Danger Team. She was great. Take that script, draw up some character designs for these 3 characters and get back to me and maybe we can work something out. And we did. And she's been teaching me how to draw. She used to be Howard Chaykin's assistant.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So she's like, I'll show you all the stuff Howard showed me. And I'm like, okay, great. Great. I'm drawing comics. You're going to show me what a comics legend taught you? Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, though, it's not like Dee Fish is shabby either. I mean, it's like,
she's not.
yeah,
She
I mean,
is
it's
just
like,
incredible. She's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
yeah. This is fantastic, man.
Yeah.
And so you said end of issue 2, Giant Girl's coming back. So you're going to be doing
No. Essentially at the end of issue 1, because she took 2 and combined it with 1. I got like 56 pages or something. But at the end of those 56 pages, there's going to be like a Giant Girl story that apparently I'm drawing.
Oh, no.
And then there's going to be issue 3 of Danger Team, and then she's going to go back to drawing Giant Girl.
Okay. So you got a good year, at least.
I do. I got a good year or 2, man. It's I'm loving it. I am loving it, and the fans, you can tell by the comments there. Were there 19 comments?
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of and the fans there on the Giant Girl site, they don't hold back. They're not like, hey, that's cute, I like the way you drew this. Pardon me. They're like, hey, panel 2, I noticed that you had this character holding this in their left hand, and then panel 3, they're holding it in their right hand. And I'm just like, oh man, they're right, and I didn't see it. So they'll call you to the mat. They don't play around. They love this strip.
I got to get back to. I started reading a little bit of it after you were on. That weekend, I sat down and read the first 5 or 10 pages, and I'm like, this is really good. I got to get back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you get to 26 yet? Which one is this?
No, this is what, 25? Did it say?
Is it 25? Yeah, that's 25. Go to 26.
Yeah.
So they're up at the top. There's Will Scarlet trying to convince Johnny Danger, no, come on, you can do it. It's not going to hurt. Everybody tells us all the time we're going to die, and we don't die. We're heroes. Everything will turn out okay. And then you scroll to the bottom, and you'll see the record of what happened is being told through the sunglasses of one of the Danger Team 99 members. It's Agent Black. He was one of the agency agents.
Uh-huh.
So when everything goes to hell, his glasses just get obliterated, and no more recording. And that's what the static was.
Wow.
And then Agent Smith is like, yeah, they didn't beat the odds. So Danger Team 99, no more.
So what is this one? Okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the private chat here because I want to move on and talk to Ray, who's going to show us his Instagram.
Yes.
So, because he says it's more updated than his site right now.
Yeah, my site is. I haven't updated anything in a while. I actually did a few. The main news page is updated, but not link wise to new stories. I'm behind in that. I've been posting mostly on Instagram more than social media more than my website. My website's non-existent.
Yeah.
But it's always good to have a website anyway. So, it's
I don't get much traffic though. More people hit Instagram than it's weird.
Oh, that's the problem. I mean, like social media, has really trained people to not look at people's websites.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the owners of social media are so fickle that you don't, anything could happen, and all the work that you did on the social media could be worth nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
But
true.
also social media sometimes, I posted, I don't remember who my guest was, but I posted something for Get in Tune on Facebook to advertise, and I got it blocked. They said you cannot post this because it had a link that led away from Facebook.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Well, actually, there's a show I'm doing next month and I had just done one of their shows as the Trenton punk rock market. They're having trouble, not to out their stuff, but Instagram, I think they finally got access to, but like they're not letting them run ads for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's just like they got blocked out of the ads account.
Yeah, that happened to someone I know too.
Yeah, I mean, so it's always important to at least have a website to be a hub. Even if it's like even just to have like all your social media listed there, or it's like have like really basic information or basic portfolio or something, just to have it there. So if something implodes or a glitch happens, or I mean, I was just I found out about an author friend of mine where it's like her TikTok was completely like they deleted her account.
Jeez,
and she doesn't know why.
Right.
That's crazy.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Daphne, because I just started updating my art portfolio on my website.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because I hadn't kept it up in a while, but I have. The first thing I did when I got out of college was buy my .com.
Yeah.
So, and I've always kept it for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I link out to everything, and even though like Ray, like you're saying, I don't get as much traffic on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to update the art portfolio, but I've always kept it for that reason because
Yeah.
You just don't know. Yeah.
You never know. If you scroll down, Michael, down like past that page, you can see some of the earlier stuff because it's out of sequence.
Okay.
Yeah, you scroll. So this is like the world without superheroes. I've been working on that since. Been drawing it.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about that title anymore, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Finally. Yeah. Finally. I think it just means our contract is null and void. You scroll up a little bit more. Well, that's one of them. So this page actually was done in the 90s, and I had done it twice. I drew it in the early 90s, and then I had another guy do it in the late 90s. And then looking at it from a 50-year-old's eye, I was like, well, there was nothing wrong with the stuff I did. And there's nothing wrong with what he did. Was just one was more anime style, and then mine was more, I guess, underground. So I was like, I want to honor both of us. So I said we could merge styles. So half of the book is him and half of the book is me. And that's a combination of Photoshop and AI. So I was like, okay, I'm going to throw in AI. I'm going to throw in the 90s stuff. I'm going to throw in the later 90s stuff and then combine them almost like the character is traveling through the book itself in the story. So it's not just time travel, but through the art, literal artwork. So I'm just kind of like
brilliant.
Like, what would David Lynch do if he was writing a comic? That was kind of like the original concept back in the day, but it was more like what would Robert Crumb's superheroes look like, like that type of thing. But then it's like now with AI, I was like, we need to I need to incorporate this new technology, kind of like when in the beginning everything was hand lettered, and then when Illustrator came out, I erased all the hand lettering and went on Illustrator. So I think that's so some of these backgrounds are AI, like the last panel is definitely AI, and then I manipulated in Photoshop. And if you click on the next one, you'll see that's all hand, that's all ink. So it's a combination of a mixture, and I don't want it to look so obvious. So most of it I've been doing lately is backgrounds, but just taking this comic book, I want to end it already because in 2010 I was gonna just do what I'm doing now, just focus on that and put it out. And then Bronx Heroes was doing so well that I was like, I don't need this story anymore. But then once DC sued me, they actually kept me linked to the story, forcing me to stay in. So these backgrounds are both, the top panel is hand-drawn and AI combined. I don't know if you can figure out what's what.
On the computer?
Yeah, the computer monitor is AI. The walls are hand-drawn, the monitors. And then in the background, is the background in the second panel is a combination of both too, hand drawn and AI.
Now, let me ask you, since you're talking about AI, and this is just for the entire group, has anyone played with it or experimented? I know there's people who embrace it, other people who are anti it, and I don't judge anyone for their point of view, because as someone, who works with professionals in the entertainment field, it's a big conversation, and at the moment, if you're not embracing it, you're not working. So I'm just curious on your thoughts.
Like the studios are now telling people, like, our friend Ed, like he can draw super fast. He could do 19 storyboards, like actual boards a day, but now they want them to use the AI, so it takes them longer. So now you went from 19 to 9, but they want you to basically almost turn it into almost like a collage of different AIs, chop it up and then Photoshop it. So you're kind of like collaging AI, which takes a lot longer than actually just drawing it. But he says that's what the client wants. That's what the client gets.
Yeah.
And those who can't conform don't have work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, I don't use AI. Not specifically. I'll use it to dig up reference. I mean, I'll go to different sites and look for 3D models that I can use to give me an idea of how things should look at certain perspectives. But yeah, I can't really say for the most part that I use AI. I'm sure that it has its merits. I mean, I can see using it for conceptual work. Like, what would this look like? What would it look like if I took a lobster and a porcupine and combined them together? Oh, okay, that's how it would look. And now I can, figure out how to draw this a little better. But doing the work for me, like corporations want, and I would say a lot of animation companies are doing the same thing. Like, I couldn't see myself doing that. I mean, I'd have my integrity, because personally, I mean, what non-creatives want is they want good-looking stuff super quick. But the old adage has always been, you can either get good stuff or you can get quick stuff, but you can't get both.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, art has always been an expression of the human experience. And I don't see how binary code can mimic that. It doesn't have life experience. It can't emote. It can't express. It can only give impressions of what it's learned. It's like a student trying to take a theory and apply it, and they just can't. All they can do is recite that theory. They can't.
It's like a child. That's why it's difficulty with hands. Like
you're just repeating what I told you. You don't understand what I told you. That's what the child is. I realized after the words came out of my mouth, I was like, almost sounded like I was preaching to Ray. Like, I'm not preaching to Ray.
No, but I mean, it does learn, and it's actually scary the speed and the momentum that it's learning. So I mean, I don't know. I find it's a screwdriver to me. I find it as I've been testing its limits and just seeing how descriptive can I get before it gets too descriptive and it stops doing the description. And not all AI sites are equal. Some are really terrible. And the better ones that these studios pay for are, like, they have this thing called Storyboard AI, which I haven't played with yet, but my friend who is a storyboard artist has it. Basically, you can put a full script there and it'll give you the storyboard artist, like if somebody hand drew it, and you can change the style. But that's a paid service. You're talking about $40 a month.
Yeah, I actually watched a tutorial on that one.
Yeah,
and you could choose between, like, I don't remember all the choices, but it was like output in magic marker, output in pencil, output in watercolor, output in whatever, and you got like 4 or 5 choices, and it outputs it for you in that look. And then it says like, and this is from the website's tutorial or example, and then it says something like, if you like, the characters are at the Great Wall of China, but they made the characters Chinese and the main character is supposed to be European. So all they do is they go in and edit the main character to have a European look, and instantly the storyboard, the character just changes.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think it's nuts. Personally, I'm not into generative AI. I don't want something creating it for me, but I can see and understand the process of speed in concept art.
Yeah.
I want a robot assistant to draw my comics for me. I can just write it. I'm sorry.
The only thing I will say about generative AI, and I haven't done it in a few weeks, and Ray knows this one here. Ray introduced me to a website called, is it Suno? It does music.
Suno, yeah.
Suno, Suno.
Yeah.
And I've typed like my poetry that I've written in there, and some children's books, rhyming stuff. And you tell it what genre do you want it to have, like a male singer, female singer, whatever, and it outputs you the song. Like it just makes the song for you. And
scary good.
That's because I don't play with music like professionally, or I don't know how to do it. I'm finding a little fun in that, but I would never take it and use it professionally. You know what I mean? It's just something I'm having fun with for myself and sharing with friends on occasion, but it's not something I would do, hold on. We got Bill Mouse is on. Hey, Bill.
Bill!
Interesting topic. Going to take a long time to get the angles. Yeah. It really is. I want to say this, and I won't say what the project was, but I did a project in the last 2 years, I think it was. And I kept seeing stuff from the publisher showing me artwork. And I'm like, holy crap, my artwork is not going to live up to the other work that is in there. And then when I got the book, I got my copy, it was pretty much, I realized everything was AI generated. But it was black and white line art.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought the guy was a really good inker who worked on these couple of stories. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And then I go through the whole book, and it's like, okay, there's maybe between 5 and 10 actual illustrators who drew, and all the other the rest of the book looks the same in AI. And it's not a book I really want to like buy copies of and sell. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm thrilled I got to work on the book. I am thrilled that I got to be part of it because I love the characters that I got to work on. But I don't want to sell people books that is primarily AI art.
I think if you integrate it, kind of like what I've been doing, like backgrounds and stuff, or using it as a reference point, or I think that helps. Like I've actually just like, I'm developing this new character, and then I drew it first. I liked what I drew, and I was like, well, I wonder if I put in the prompts, how would AI improve on this costume? Yeah. And then they gave me like several hundred different designs, and then I actually incorporated some of those changes into my actual drawing art. So it's almost like, and back in the 90s when we were in SVA, they said use reference, and they had these reference rooms in the library that were like these giant flat files of just photographs, and going through magazines, and you're spending hours looking through these magazines and looking for the right buildings, the right angle, the right photograph. But now with this thing, you can literally type in exactly what you want and get, I would say, like 70% what you're looking for, and the more detailed you type, the more descriptive, the closer you get to it. You know? So as a reference point, I think it's helpful. I don't think it's going to replace the human mind yet, but I mean,
well, I hope it never does.
I mean, I don't know if you heard. I mean, what country is it? They're using human brain stems, and they're making miniature brains to fit into actual computers. So the computer itself, as we get older, probably in our early 60s, they're already developing in some countries artificial human brains that are going to work with computers. So their computer will think just as quickly as us, or the AI will have an organic human brain, like a brain hybrid. So I don't know. I think humanity had a good run. Give them a shot. You know, Terminator is coming. You know, it's like
Skynet's about to go live.
Skynet's gone live, right? It's like but Skynet's really Google if you think about it, right? It's like I mean Nemesis. I'm actually working on the second book of that for like the last 4 years. I haven't finished it. I was 13 pages in and then stopped. I have to finish the last 8 pages, and then I'll have that out with Gary Cohn.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, listen, right? You have one of the I think collection of books out there, like, you know, that you've worked on.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's important that we innovate. That was for the Spawn contest. If you go back a few, there's another page from the 90s that I did that Carmen Infantino and Howard Post, that one, were helping me edit, and when I was working on that back in the early 90s. And then I just didn't think it was good enough. And I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm 50 now. I don't give a shit. It's just put it out there. I had these 2 great legends working with me on this, like page by page. And then I graduate. I'm like, this is trash. I'm whatever. It's just like, put it out from a young person's point of view. I was like, this is terrible. There's a lot of things wrong with this page. But how many people can say that their first indie book was assisted by Carmen Infantino, you know, while they were in college? Not many people can say that. Or Howard Post, who did Little Red Hot and Bullwinkle. I mean, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, it's shit, but I'm going to color it. I'll make it look good, you know, and and throw in, and then like have some sequences with fucking AI, since it's a futuristic story.
By the way, since Ray started talking, this will not be going to Good for Children on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, kids.
See, I thought it was going to be me. Nope,
anyway.
it's right.
You should hear like the way my students talk to me, man. It's just like I'm kind of PG compared to you know.
Yeah, I can imagine. Hold on, I want to bring up Bill's comment about AI.
Even if AI becomes something else. Well, I think that the double-edged sword for AI is that AI is becoming mainstream very quickly, and I think people will get sick of it faster, and then they'll appreciate original art even more. So, that's the rub right there. That already on Facebook, you see a lot of people posting AI shit, but people are going to be like, "Oh, it sucks." Or when you go to a movie, like I told my students today, your children's rock stars will be computer generated. You know?
Yeah.
They'll be AI. Your celebrities will be AI because they don't want to pay anybody, and that the celebrities now are so greedy with. It's their fault, really, because they wanted to look younger, so we used AI to make them look younger in these movies, and they cut out all this next generation of actors from getting the opportunity to play that younger version of them. That now the studios are like, hey, we own this, and we could just make copies of you, and we don't need you anymore.
Well, there's a lot to that. I mean, listen, I don't want to go into it right now, but that's part of what the strike was about. last year.
But they did it to themselves. It was greed. These established actors were like, I want to look young. Make me young. I don't need a younger actor playing me.
Listen, I just, from what I can tell, and this is what I've seen and talked with people, that strike really screwed up the creative end. The people who basically the company, since the artists supported the actors and writers, they're now at kind of like an FU from the studios, and they are, like we mentioned, our friend Ed. He told me once he would have a team of, or not, he'd be on a team of like 10 storyboard artists. Now it's him, the AI app, and one other person. So you have to be really good, and you have to be willing to embrace the art or the apps right now.
Yeah.
But you know what? Here's the thing. When I'm talking for like movies, TVs, animated series. Those are the type of stuff. I do think comics are a little different. I do think comics are, and I know, Daphne, you need to go in a moment.
Yeah, I do.
I just want to say this, and then, but I think we will see a change. And I was telling JM this the other day. I don't know what it is about the comic industry, but I feel like 2025 we're going to see there's like something in the air, and by 2026 we're going to see a change in the industry. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you. It's not from what I've seen talking with other artists in the entertainment field or anything. It's just a feeling that I get from seeing what's going on between social media, Kickstarter, other sites like that. I know there's that new one. I can't remember the name, like Fund My Comic or something. So there's just something going on. And I feel like 2025, we're going to see the change happen slowly, but by 2026, and I'm hoping it's good for the indies. But I think in 2026 we're going to see something new.
I remember that Jim Lee was saying in 2018 at San Diego Comic-Con that they were no longer going to make print comics at all. So they were talking about that in 2018.
Remember when we were talking about like we wouldn't be printing on paper anymore, and computers would be wireless.
But that was a big announcement from DC and Marvel. They said they were going to get away from print comics and just go fully digital. So that didn't happen. So you never.
But I do think digital sales. I haven't been paying attention, but I do see a lot of people reading on tablets and phones when you're on the train or wherever. So I do think digital is happening, and I've been a promoter of digital stuff since the 90s. I thought we were going motion comics. Maybe that was my love of animation happening, but that failed. But
those are fun though.
They are. I still watch
them.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go on. Even Tubi they have like a Red Sonja one or something on Tubi, and one.
I might be one of the few. I didn't see that ever taking off.
I don't know.
They had that comic company that
because I was just kind of like, okay, there's comics and there's animation.
Right.
You're gonna make animated comics. Just make animation.
What was the name of the company?
I usually see those as Kickstarter trailers.
Yeah,
like people
right. That way, I think that way it works because when you have like a trailer and it's a video of something that's static images, you need to have a certain amount of movement. Otherwise, I don't think it'll grab people the same way it's intended to. But I just
they might work on TikTok.
On TikTok it would work,
And 10-second reels, like whatever.
Though there's a whole. I don't know if any comic people do it, but there's like a whole subculture on TikTok that just people promote their books, like novels, and people find.
Book talk. Yeah.
And that's how people find a lot of new indie authors to read.
Yeah, so, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny that something like that never caught on for comics.
Yeah.
It's weird because I was at a show last week locally, and all these little kids that weren't even born and their parents that were probably little were collecting and dropping like serious coin on Pokemon cards. I'm like, so as far as digital is going, digital comics, you got this new generation of little kids in elementary school influenced by their parents that collected Pokemon, that they're buying Pokemon cards like $40 for one card. I'm like, I got a book here for $5. Buy my comic, goddamn.
Right. But it's because
weird.
they're doing what their parents did, and their parents
Right.
didn't collect comics.
Right, exactly. Their parents didn't collect comics.
Right.
So as much as digital goes, I mean, that's Pokemon's just like a modern day tarot card. Let's get for real.
Oh,
I mean, it's like we're Dungeons and Dragons with cards.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's always going to be some form of print somehow. People are always going to be attracted to the past. You know, kind of like when I was in college, I collected 8-track tapes, right? And it's, I mean, there's always going to be that past and present push and pull. I don't think comics will ever be completely gone. Maybe the big two will be gone. Thankfully.
Right. Yeah, I see that happening first.
Yeah, I see that, but I think independence will continue. You know.
Yeah. Daphne, I know you need to go.
Yeah,
so
I have to go. So.
I want to get to Bill's comment. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I had fun.
You have a good Thanksgiving.
You too, everybody at that. So I'll talk to all you guys later.
Yeah, tell JP I said hi.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. So, hey, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
All right, I just want to say, Bill. Oops, hold on. This one, Ray, you might be right. People are getting tired of the new tricks, but the topic has so many angles. So true. So, yeah, I mean, I want to get off the AI topic, but I just wanted to make sure I got the comment here. It's such a weird and hard thing. Like I said, I can't use it. Just professionally, it's how I feel, but I'm not. I know people who do use it, and I'm not knocking anybody who chooses to use it.
Right.
You know. Sorry.
Photoshop revolutionized the way we colored comics. I remember learning how to use Doc Martin inks in the 90s, and then Photoshop came. And I had a brand new set of Doc Martin inks that I never cracked open. And then one day, Rodney Ramos came over, and he's looking at my art supplies. He's like, "Hey, it's still brand new." It's like, he was like, I was like, "Oh, you can have it. I'm never going to touch that." It's like, once you get Photoshop, I'm not going back to limiting my palette to 12 colors. You know, it's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's fun to do if you want to be a hobbyist and stuff, but no one's, for your own personal growth, I think is fine. Like, just like I think painting is obsolete, but it is still fun to do.
Hold on.
That's all I do is paint, right? I don't use any digital.
No, I know, but I'm saying, but it is an obsolete. I mean, but you're doing it for your personal growth, and you're using it.
No, I use it for published work.
No.
I know you're using it for published work, but I'm saying it's like, but it's not something you can go to college and say, I'm going to graduate to be a painter. Because already in the 90s, when I graduated with a fine art degree, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? But wipe my ass with it. It's like you got to, it's like I got to be a teacher or something like that.
That's true of all art degrees, though,
Yeah. I mean, personally growing and developing and using it as your voice is one thing, but being hired as a painter, when I was a kid, I'd look at those guys painting the movie signs like, oh, I would love to do that. Mm-hmm. But, good luck getting that job, right?
No, that's not true. There's plenty of people still working professionally that are traditional.
Yeah, but they're probably grandfathered in.
More people want to learn how to do it. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like,
You'll always have
Yeah.
that, but it'll never be the mainstay, is what I mean.
You know, I'm going to say this because I work both traditionally and digitally. I'm more digital these days, but nothing will ever take the place of the human hand.
Right.
The digital is a tool. It's not, you know, if you give me a pencil and paper, I could draw the exact same thing
Mhm.
than if I just click a pencil brush in Clip Studio and draw. You know, it's my hand moves the same way. So it's the tools. I'm not one of those people that says you can't use digital, you can only be traditional. A lot of stuff, especially when I'm drawing the comics, not the whiz so much, but when I draw like actual sequential art, if you want to call it that, in like comic book style, there are times I have issues figuring out how I really want the panel to look. That is all done on paper. And then I take a photo with my phone, airdrop it over, and then I digitally ink. But a lot of my character designs, a lot of everything I do starts on paper. Now I'm mostly a pencil artist, so I mean I can ink, but I'm mostly a pencil artist, so I do a lot of my pencils. It's not in here, but I have one next to my bed, a clipboard with paper that I draw in before I go to bed. When I get up and walk around the house to go to my couch with my morning coffee, that clipboard comes with me. I'm not bringing my iPad. I'm not bringing digital tools with me. I will, if I bring my iPad, it's to watch like YouTube or a movie or something while I'm drawing. And then if I have to actually do artwork later, like, oh, I need to get out of my studio, spend time with my wife, I'll draw on my iPad then. You know? But my iPad, unfortunately, is a $1,200, you know, TV for me. You know, for the most part, you know.
I think it's going to be a hybrid of both, you know, which is what's happening right now, and I think it'll continue to be that until, you know.
Yeah. So Bill says lots of mural artists, lots of traditional art. I make much more money with traditional art than digital. Just saying. And
well, yeah, I mean, it's just like Olivia, right? She still airbrushes, but when the airbrush was, I took probably the last class in the School of Visual Arts in airbrushing, and I had one of the top airbrushers at the time in New York, and he was like, "Oh, they're going to turn this into a computer room next semester. It's over." And I was like, "What do you mean it's over? This is a great class. We're learning how to airbrush." You know, and they're like, "No, they're going to tear down the pipes with the air thing. You just plugged in your airbrush and, you know, right into your seat." And they had all the pipes and everything. And they're like, "No, we're going to replace this with Max." So, I mean, it's like, it happens, you know.
Things change.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, like I said, to me, the computer is a tool. When people say I can't draw, and I taught for 20 years, mostly college in that time. And I had a lot of students come to me and say, I can't draw traditionally. I can only draw digitally. And that was the hardest mental block I had to get students out of. And when I got them to finally get out of the idea that the computer is just a tool, it's not the only way you could draw.
Right.
It really changed the way people looked at art. And a lot of them had more fun, you know, like, I prefer pencil and paper. If I could draw a comic, first of all, I don't have a scanner in my house anymore. That broke years ago, and I don't have the room for an all-in-one machine. I don't want to even spend the money, minimum $400 or so, just to get one that can scan 11 by 17. You know, I don't want to drop that kind of money, but I think there's something about it, especially if you really feel you are an artist and you need to, you know, you need to create art. You're going to find a way, and you want something that isn't cold.
I got to check on my computer screen,
you know. So let me get some comments here. So Bill says, that said, I color digitally using Procreate also, not just complete generative AI, but no judgment, just saying. Was that generative AI might be good for AD work because I kind of don't care, but for art, yeah. And then he says, "We're all figuring out the topic, so I stand on no soapbox." Yeah, no, I agree. It's something that we're learning. Unfortunately, I believe it's going to become part of all creative industries. It's just a matter of how. And like I would be really cool, and I've always said this, if I could get an AI bot that can do crap for me that I don't want to. Like I feed it my script and it lays out all my panels for me, or I feed it my characters colored and I don't want to color because, again, colorblind. I say, please color this, and it sees the characters and it throws in the characters. You know what I mean? Like I would be cool with something like that AI. But I don't want to actually have it to. I still want to draw. I still want to ink. I want to because you can't. Again, you can't replace the human hand. That's why 2D animation will always be better than 3D animation in my eyes. Those little mistakes, those little. And again, you'll get it digitally too. I mean, I could show anything of my work, and you could find every mistake in there. And if you don't see it, I can point them out to you. Believe me.
I mean, I love to hand draw. But at the same time, it's like I enjoy digitally coloring. More than anything. I mean, like this is hand drawn, right? It's very elaborate. AI really can't do that, right? But when you digitally draw over an AI image and then print it out, and then I mean, it's a slick look, right?
Is that your Hanukkah girl?
That's my Hanukkah girl, yeah. So it's like, it was an AI image that I drew over, and then I had a Hearn ink over it, and then we digitally colored it. So it went back and forth between AI and the hand, but I mean, that's simple. This is simplistic. That's as complicated as it gets, and then this is the hand. Obviously, the hand is much better, more elaborate, but all in time,
Yeah.
I think that the more you play with it, the more it'll learn. I mean, we're going to be 90 years old if we're lucky one day, and we're going to need some robots to draw our books. It's hard to say that, but even if it's hand painted, you got to get your get the robot to learn how to paint.
Yeah.
Didn't
Okay, let's
sold the first painting for $1 million or something of last week.
I don't know. Let's outside of this comment, let's end on Bill's comment about AI and get off the topic, because I don't want to talk about it for the rest of the show. AI could totally replace the human animal, but it wouldn't be you. You would want to be your expression. You just have to ask. You have to ask who it's the artist. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
AI is crazy. Let's move on. To something else now.
Yeah, 1,084,800. That painting's the first humanoid robot made a painting of Alan Turing, and it sold for that much.
And did and it was bought by a human?
Bought by a human.
Yeah, they're morons. That's all I got to say.
Using
So
you got robot artists. Robot fine artist. There's hope, JM.
Listen, again, we're moving away from the topic. I'm just going to say I love traditional art. JM, who I watch his streams, does what every other Tuesday night you do a drawing stream.
Yeah.
And you paint during it. It is one of the most relaxing things to watch for me. But I also love it because I suck at painting. And it's something that is... I like watching people do things I can't do. You go to digital coloring, I could type a code in for a color and drop it in with the, paint bucket. But to sit there and watch the brush strokes and to listen to listen to you talk about what you're doing, work, and sometimes you explain technique, and it's very, it's a really cool stream. That's all I got to say. It's just, I draw the whiz every Tuesday night to JM drawing on screen.
Well, for me, even when it's commercial work, like art's still like a process for me. So if I'm not in it, and I know you want to get off the AI topic, but
yeah,
if I'm not creating it, it's like I don't know. To me, it's just useless. There was a great quote that somebody put out there, maybe only a couple months ago. I read it, but it was specifically about like books written by AI. It was like, why would I bother to read something that someone didn't even bother to write?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that way about it. It's like I want to connect with the art when I'm making it, and I want to connect with the artist's hand and intention or voice or whatever when I'm reading something. So yeah, I don't know. For me, like I just can't, it's an emotional experience and I just can't get it the other way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I kind of feel the same way. I mean, art is about connecting with, for us with our audience, or if I'm reading like your book or Ray's book or whatever, I'm trying to connect with what you're saying. It's excuse me. It's I don't know. There's just something about it, like looking at animation, because that was what I wanted to do before comics. I mean, well, when I was a kid, it was comic strips. Then it went to animation and stuff. And when I was looking at things, I could literally point out scenes in film, like animated films, that even changed my life as an artist. Because I connected, and it's like I want to create that. I will tell you right now, in 1986, when The Little Mermaid came out, and she's singing "Part of Your World," and she does that, and there's that animation where she reaches up and then pulls away.
Just yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that was one of the most amazing movements. Like I remember studying Cinderella, Disney's Cinderella, and there's a scene. It's so like quick, but she's like cleaning the floor, I think, before her stepmother comes in or the cat or someone comes in, and just the way she is pushing, it's like you could see that they studied a person.
He was rotoscoped, yeah.
Moving. I don't know. It could have been rotoscoped. I don't know at the time, but you could see that they really understood how a person moves. That like it took me out of the cartoon, and I felt like I was watching an actual person cleaning the floor. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Hold on. Bill says totally agree, JM, and that was with your comment there.
Yeah, I think rotoscoping is another example, like how we went from actors to cartoons. Like it's cheaper to do cartoons, but they still needed human actors to rotoscope them to get that lifelike motion. And then we went into CGI, right? So there's a progression,
But very few animated cartoons you could actually say were like completely acted out by actors and then rotoscoped over. Outside of Fire and Ice, like they shot basically an actual movie.
Yep.
And then they rotoscoped over that.
Exactly.
But you go back to the old He-Man cartoons. They actually, they rotoscoped, the ones that constantly were in reused, where like He-Man would walk into a scene, turn his head each way, and then walk off into an angle.
Right.
So things like that were rotoscoped.
Yeah.
And they had actors, but for the most part, a lot of those cartoons were not rotoscoped.
Oh yeah, just segments of it. Yeah.
So and it's the same thing, because it is too expensive to shoot an entire film, pay actors, and then but I know they're doing that a bit with 3D now. What was that? Was it Rio with Johnny Depp? Yeah. They all wore like motion capture suits and then like acted out everything and then just had it happen.
In the Avengers movies, it's a lot of movies doing that motion capture. The Planet of the Apes movies. Well, I think they'd be able to design cool costumes for the Planet of the Apes instead of just having a bunch of monkeys, right? It's like,
I still haven't seen all the new Planet.
Want some leather?
I gotta. That's a one day I want to do like a marathon of all the new. I have to go back and watch the was the first two I think I saw, so I have to go back just to get them fresh in my head, and then.
Well, the last one was a reboot of the first one, so it's like they're rebooted. It's like a reboot of the original and a reboot of the remake. So they're taking it in a whole other direction. Like,
Okay.
3 more movies. They're rebooting the reboot. Oh Jesus! It's like,
I don't know. It's too. There's too much luck. Outside of what was it? What was the last Spider-Man movie?
No Way Home.
No Way Home. Outside of that, I haven't watched a Marvel movie since Endgame.
Oh,
And I've seen clips and stuff, but I haven't watched anything.
You're still doing better than me. I think the last Marvel movie I watched was the first Thor.
Well, just watch the second one and don't watch anything else. I mean, the second is okay, but I think you'll like it for what it was.
I don't know. I mean, I saw Marvel movies. Yeah, I think the last 3 were just like the first 2 Iron Men and Captain America and Thor. And I wasn't impressed with Captain America or Thor. But again, like, I'm not a superhero guy.
No, I get it. I was going to say the only movies I really truly can say I loved were the Captain America movies, besides the last 2 Avengers.
My sister-in-law is trying to convince me to go through the whole MCU up to Endgame just so that I can watch it as a storyteller and see how well they set everything up and piece it all together and bring it to a conclusion. But I'm just and I know I don't want to sound like a broken record because I never remember who I've told this to and who I didn't. Like, I had a very short X-Men phase, and then I jumped to Ghost Rider when I found out Ghost Rider. And I mean, yeah, he's getting a comeback right now, but he's always been like an obscure character in the Marvel universe. And then it was Spawn, who had some mainstream appeal, but it's still like, generally an indie book. Battle Chasers, Hellboy. These days, in the last couple of years, I finally discovered Eric Powell, and I'm reading The Goon. But even when it was like Ghost Rider and Spawn, I don't consider them like traditional superhero characters, Yeah.
No, I get it. I've always been, I've always been into like superheroes. It's always been usually sci-fi or fantasy themed based heroes.
Right.
And listen, Superman's my all-time favorite, but he really is a sci-fi hero when you look at his story.
So that's another thing. I'm not a big sci-fi guy. I'm a big fantasy guy. And I feel like the majority of superheroes really fall into the sci-fi category. And don't get me wrong, just because I don't have a big interest in it, it doesn't mean that I think there's no value and nobody should. My hiccup has always been like American comics are just way too focused on superheroes and not in the.
It's uniquely American. That's our genre,
Right, but it's like there's so much other variety. Like I like the comics medium. I don't necessarily love what is mainstream American comics.
No, and I could see, and I definitely agree with that nowadays. I mean, when I was younger, outside of reading Uncle Scrooge and some Disney books and whatnot, for me it really was superheroes, and it was more DC than Marvel. I'll always say that. Excuse me, but when I'd say I got into indie books somewhere in the 90s. Probably when I turned 16, maybe between 16 and 18, when I started driving myself to the comic shop and I didn't need rides anymore, and I could spend longer times in there and explore. And I remember some of the first indie comics outside of Ninja Turtles that I was really attracted to were those slave labor graphic books in the 90s. Really enjoyed Scud the Disposable Assassin. Might be one of it's probably my favorite indie book of all time.
No,
Sorry, are you
it's a
into
classic in the past.
Yeah, I mean, like that might be my all-time favorite, but again, that's kind of sci-fi-ish in a way, like, and just to say with Marvel, my favorite superheroes from Marvel are well, the all-time favorite is Quasar. Who uses Quasar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a great character, and they did nothing with him, and then
Well, they did something with him.
They made a dead body out of him. That's what they
They
did.
made a dead body out of him.
there's and I also always enjoyed Nova, but
They
honestly,
brought him back.
yeah, but in the 90s when they made him like Kid Nova or whatever, I was like, it's still the same character. Why do you got to put the kid name in front of him? Just because you needed a young group of teenagers or whatever for, So I was just, and then that kind of stuck with the character, and I was just like, it's not that great. It kind of faded away from me. So I like, give me like that late 70s when he was created. But yeah, and indie books, I don't know. I started collecting more then, and things, and like you mentioned Battle Chasers, fantastic book. What else? I can't even remember everything.
They probably never finished that series, right?
They're back finishing it now.
30 years later, Kickstarter.
No. He went back and he's finishing it now.
Who was that?
Just like
Umberto Ramos or something? Was that?
I don't remember the guy's. Whoops, I hit something there.
I remember that was a hit book, and then people were waiting like literally a year for the next issue or two, and then 2 years for the one after that. It's like
I don't know, but I have the complete. I think I have the complete series digitally. I think I found a place that was selling it, and I just downloaded like an omnibus or something of it. So I've been going through it slowly, to remind myself. So I haven't even bought any of the new books. I'll probably wait till that's in a trade format or something, but I'll see. I mean, the only thing I'm buying right now is the new Space Ghost, which I'm missing issue 3 for, and the Gotcha Men series that they're doing.
So good.
Yeah. I don't know what I picked up. I haven't read them yet, but when I was on vacation in Florida, I went to 3 comic shops. One comic shop I found all the back issues of Gotcha Men that I'm missing because I have no shops around me anymore. And I found all the Space Ghosts that I was missing except for issue 3.
Number 5. You could read them on readallcomics.com.
Probably, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
We were talking about digital books earlier. I like to have them in my hand. I've been and as you know, I've been reading a lot more manga, and I'm already running out of room for the books I'm buying. My wife's telling me go to the library.
Go
library. But there's the thing where I truly enjoy, like, it's not about owning the book, but being comfortable when I read. Mm-hmm. I can knock off a manga in an hour. I might as well just sit in the library and read it. Yeah. Whereas here, I could pick it up and say, I'm going to knock this out over 2 or 3 days just because I want that pacing to last. I'm enjoying it so much. I already have almost the whole shelf on my bookshelf finished, and I got like 5 books behind me here. I just got because I enjoyed the anime when I was a kid. I just picked up Fist of North Star.
Oh, that's a great one.
And it's a great one, but also this is something that I love the art. I used to draw this stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of what you do, Ray.
I'm very heavily influenced by the Hong Kong artists, not the Japanese so much. When I was younger, I would say in the 2000s, I was influenced by the Japanese, but I would say the last 14 years, I've been really obsessed with the Hong Kong artists. And I guess because not many people in America are familiar with them, so they did a short run. I think it was King's Sun Comics or whatever, but then they never did the modern ones. They try to sell the American audience the ones that they were doing in the 70s and 80s, but those, it's like they should have just started it where they were at and do almost like a Star Wars, start at episode 6 and just go backwards, because the stuff that was current was so much better than what they were trying to start them off. I guess they thought that Americans would latch on, but no, it's not. The style that really hits is the stuff that they're doing, now, not the stuff that they did then, So
Anyway, first of all, Jam, I know you need to get going. I want to thank you for coming on. I want to, I know you,
always good seeing you.
You too, right? It's been a while.
It's been a while.
So, well, I hope that tomorrow you have a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you guys too. I'm mostly healed up now. I think I was talking to my brother. I think I overtrained the other day, and that's probably what did it to me. So
lower back or abs?
Abs and lower back, yeah. So just killing me today. I slept most of the day. But I used to work out, like I was big into Taekwondo and everything, so I've never experienced overtraining. Mm-hmm. But I was like, my brother lifts a lot, so I was like, what the hell is going on? Can you have any insight? He's like, yeah, I think you overtrained. So I'm like, all right, that's new. So I'm trying to get back in shape.
Get some microbiome, you'll be good.
Actually, I did. I put some on my abs and my back. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Really. So I appreciate it. I'll get some more rest, and I'll probably be good for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to be 51 in a few weeks, and I can't get out of bed without stretching every day. So if I don't do it, then I can't walk downstairs.
Yeah.
I gotta throw myself out of bed. I use my legs to kick myself out.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting there. There you go.
Yeah, I'm getting old a lot quicker than the rest of you. But yeah, JM, I don't want to keep you. Again, thanks for coming on. Have a great Thanksgiving, and again,
we should do a meetup before the new year.
Yeah.
Before the new year, if it's during the week, I'm doing conventions every weekend.
Really? What conventions this coming weekend?
I mean, this weekend I'm down in the Dragon Village, and I also have an author signing at the nightclub in Newark. None of them are comic conventions.
There's a nightclub in Newark. Really? I work in Newark. That's cool.
Yeah, QXT is near the Prudential Center.
Oh, is that the one by the water?
I don't know if it's near the water. It's by the Prudential Center.
Yeah, the Prudential Center, they have that little. Yeah, it's close to the water though, but it could either be towards the inlet or the outlet.
Oh yeah, I don't know, because I guess I never noticed the water there. But yeah, there's
behind Penn Station. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a vampire group that meets one Friday every month, and I've been there as a guest artist. And now they want me in as a guest author.
Very cool.
That's cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm not a member of the group, but I don't know. They
went on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then there's a few horror shows in the Trenton Punk Rock Fest coming up before the end of the year. I'm still making the majority of my money off of shows, but kind of overextended myself this year. I mean, I'm coming up. I think this weekend will be, if you count the event and then the 2 days in Bridgeton as two separate ones, those will be 51 and 52. Of the year. 51st and 52nd show I've done of the year. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a lot. So.
No, yeah. Make it happen, That's all you gotta just keep turning art tricks, that's how you make it. You just gotta keep doing it. Stay fresh. Stay frosty. As they said in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
I just want to say to Bill, thanks for tuning in, and we will definitely talk soon.
Yeah.
Else else, if you want to get together between Christmas and New Year's, that would work just fine.
I will say for me, it has to be after Christmas. That's the
Okay.
only time I get off.
Yeah.
For a weekday. Otherwise, weekends, you know.
Well, I'm saying for both weekday or weekend. That's
Weekends for me are pretty much open usually, unless I really decide I'm staying in to draw, you know, or have like a family thing. But yeah, during the week, I'm only going to have like 3 days off, or maybe 4. I don't remember. So it's like I'm off on the 26th, I think 27th, and then I think I work on the 28th, and I got to work on the 29th, take off on the 29th again. It's a little weird on how it's set up, you know. But yeah, no. If you want to do during the day, it'll have to be like right after Christmas. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you know.
Yeah, you guys send me a message or whatever.
Yeah, totally. And I gotta say, every time, I don't know if I've ever said this, but I love your cat.
She's great.
Yeah.
Very affectionate.
You know,
but I had her since she was like maybe a month old. So.
That's awesome. We had 2. One passed away in 2016. That was my cat, and like I would draw, and I'd have my brush, you know, and he would grab the brush in his teeth, growl. He would literally like growl at me if I tried to take it away.
Oh, okay.
He loved, and he would just sit with it. The cat we have right now, which we had with him, is much more Janine's cat, and everything you're doing is what she does with our cat Sesame. He won't. He would rarely let me get that close to him.
Right.
Years ago, he used to let me sleep on him. Like I could use him as a pillow. Now I can't go near him like that.
She's only like this with me. She warms up to other people, but the hard thing is when I'm really trying to get something done, or I'm like putting a color down, and this cat just will not let me just get around her just to finish a spot even. That's a little tough, but I'm patient with her because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Yeah,
I can't explain it to her like, hey, if you don't let me finish this, I might not make the money to feed you next week. So, but that's cool. No, she's good. I lucked out with her. She's pretty good natured.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great cat. Very beautiful cat. I love it. I'm a big cat guy.
You hear that, Cirilla? You're beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Ed, we haven't heard from you in a while. How you doing? You're working on your project there?
Yeah, I'm trying to meet my deadline, so I'm just kind of going heavy on getting this page done.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm just about done. I am listening. I haven't found spots for me to hop in and
No, it's okay. I
to the
just
conversation.
want to make sure you're okay. You know.
Oh no, I'm okay. I'm a survivor.
How late you think you'll be up working on this tonight?
I don't know. I think I got a good 20 to 30 minutes left here.
Nice.
I'm doing like a time elapse panel where you show an overhead shot of the reporter's apartment and he's moving around. So he's in different poses. It gives you the illusion of time moving.
That sounds cool. I can't wait to see it.
What is it?
We should probably wrap up for all of us. I mean, we've done almost 2 hours and 40 minutes. I really thought we were going to do like an hour and a half.
It's never an hour with you, Michael. I said it's never an hour with you, Michael. I mean, it's good. It's always fun, but it's never an hour.
No, I know. We have a lot of fun talking. I was planning to like, I thought I'd be done cooking some stuff right now. It's like, we're almost at midnight. I'm like, screw this. I'm going to go draw when I'm just going to get into bed, maybe throw an anime on or something, or a movie, and just draw for a half hour, an hour, whatever. And then make sure I'm up at 7 a.m. to start cooking everything.
Yeah, buddy.
I did half of it today, so I don't have to worry about too much tomorrow.
Unfortunately,
that's a good idea.
You know,
is the pork for Neil?
Yeah, I made it for Neil. I don't even eat pork, but I made it for my wife and son.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, no.
But I'm like, I basically season the turkey, so it's everything's ready to go. Just wake up and throw it in the oven in the morning.
Are you what'd you do, like brine it or something?
Yeah, basically. But I did it like a Hispanic way this year. Usually I did the traditional rosemary and all that, but
Yeah, I'm gonna tomorrow make some kind of butter with spices. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, not make it. I'm gonna soften the butter. I'm not making butter from scratch. I'm not. But
churning it.
yeah, no, I'll just figure out what spices.
AI butter.
In the morning, and
He says AI butter.
I'm actually cooking the turkey at my in-laws, so I'm gonna make everything except the green beans that I do and carrots here. I'll do the mashed potatoes and stuffing and a few other things here, and then get over there early so we can eat at a regular hour.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's wrap up. I'm sorry. You're going to say something?
Who?
Ray? Was it Ray or?
I don't know.
Or
Is it me? I don't know.
I don't know. I heard a sound. I don't know. I want to.
I think I just softly burped into my hand. Like that was about it. Yeah.
I was gonna hold this up and say, look, this is all the shit that I have to publish that I've been working on for the last year. I gotta keep inking and drawing this crap so I can get it done with. But that's the final end of A World Without Superheroes after
all those years.
I know. And I would have left it a long time ago if Marvel and DC didn't sue me in 2010. I would have just dumped it and kicked it under a bed or something, or in a
What
drawer.
did they? I'm unfamiliar. What did they sue you over?
Oh, over the title, A World Without Superheroes. They wanted me to stop publishing it. So that gave me the fire to keep it going. Just like, fuck you guys. Yeah, 4 years in court. No fun. But I didn't even want to do the book anymore. I hated it. But then I was like, oh, it must be worth something if they want to sue me over it. I might as well keep going.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And then this whole year, I was like trying to finish up this old stuff. Like I was showing you some stuff from the 90s, trying to incorporate all the stuff that I threw out. I'm trying to bring it back in. I've been coloring it for a year solid. And I was like, this is pointless. I'm wasting my time. And then all of a sudden, they lost the rights to the word. So I was like, look at that. Everything happens for a reason.
When I heard that, I'm like, this must be Ray's happiest day.
I felt the weight lift off my chest like a phantom weight lift off my body. I was like I was freed, like my soul was released. Yeah, it's weird. I didn't even think about it like that because it's just kind of a love-hate relationship with this book, But when I heard the news and I read it, I was like, oh,
Maybe you can love it again, and the characters will end up somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to put it all out, end the story, and never look at it again. They just keep doing reprints until like Watchmen.
Collect the trade and
do the trade.
New cover on the trade, and here's a few extra pages.
Right, exactly.
4 new pages that weren't in there originally.
Right, and I feel the same way about. I just want to stop doing comics, and period, and maybe just get into writing novels full time. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you're an artist, you're always creating. It's like, but it's a bad habit.
Talk to JM. He writes novels, and
sometimes
I haven't yet, but they're pretty good. I understand. I've seen people comment on your posts.
That's nice.
What?
I said that's nice. They're good from what I understand.
I don't even know if I have one of your novels.
No, it's okay. I'm just joking. But actually, well, I mean, I always wanted to take writing seriously, but I'll tell you, when I really got serious about it was when I was in art school, because I still needed to make art that was for me. And I was tired of drawing and getting hammered by all the art professors. So I started writing a novel in my free time, So, I mean, Ray, it might be good for you just to take a break from the comic stuff and do a different medium,
Yeah, I want to write like a memoir, which I started like a few years back, and then I stopped. So
That would be cool.
my
though.
wife read it, and she was like, "Why aren't I in here?" And I was like, "Oh shit!
There's something
I didn't know you then. Stop reading it."
you know, there was something that, and you guys know Christian DiMatteo from Fugitive Poems.
Yes.
So, and Ray, you met him at the Croton Con that I was talking about
Mhm.
earlier, and he told me once when he was in college, he had trouble. He was taking a writing class in something, and he was having trouble writing. And his teacher told him, "Well, try to do it another way. Why don't you draw the story?" And he's the first one to admit he's a terrible artist. And he did these little like stick figure little things, and it cleared his head that he was able to take what he did and turn and just write basically about the pictures he drew. So, and this is something because I go back and forth between writing I have a magic story I've been writing on and off for years, but I use it. I tend to go to it when I take a break from art. I always took what he told me as something very interesting, and just a good mental break to remove yourself from what you're working on if you're feeling overwhelmed or you know the story that you're working on or the artwork it's not coming out right. If you don't have a deadline, just step away, try it in a different way. You know, every day I'll tell you on my lunch hour at 3:30 our time, because my job is on Pacific time, at 3:30 Eastern, when I go on break, the first thing I do is I get up, I remove all my art from what I'm, you know, around me, and I go in my kitchen and I wash dishes. And what it does is it gives me a break from looking at art, all this, and my mind just clears. And then for that next, if it takes me 10 minutes, half hour, whatever, that rest of my lunch hour, I'm able to draw and relax and focus on my own stuff or write, because I'm doing something that is not what I'm always doing, which is drawing at the time, you know?
Mhm.
So going to a novel might be a great way to you know re-inspire you to get into comics later.
I was reading Dracula, and I never realized, because I never read the book before, and I was just like, wow, it's all a series of letters to people. Like they're all writing to each other, and it's like that's an interesting concept, you know, like. And the movies, whenever you see a Dracula adaptation, they never really do that, except for Scorsese's that he did slightly. But he's probably the one that got the closest to it. But I really think that was a clever writing device, that you're reading a book and it's all like journals and letters from people and these different perspectives, and you're building, and Dracula's barely even in there. It's really about the people around Dracula. It's like, you know, but Dracula is a minor character in a lot of ways.
Right, and you don't even find out he's a vampire till halfway through the novel.
Right.
Crazy. Novels like thick too, and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, as a modern audience, you're reading it and you're like, but I know what's going on.
Right. But I just thought that was a really clever. I was like, wow, if I could write something for Punchline like that. Like I actually wanted to do like some Punchline writing as well, like, because you know, this one editor complimented one of my scripts when I took this master class with him, and he was saying you should be a writer. Forget about the art. Your stories are better. He was saying your memoir stories are better than the comics you write. And then I was like, yeah, right. I was like, and then I actually ran into it maybe 2 summers ago, cleaning up the studio, started reading some of the stuff. And then I started reading some older notebooks from years back, like notes. And I'm like, why aren't I writing? Why am I just caught up in this superhero loop? You know, when I write, I don't write anything about superheroes. So, and when I read books, I don't really read superheroes. You know, I read history or politics. You know, I read more political stuff than I read more nonfiction than fiction. but then when I sit down to create, I'm creating fiction. It's weird.
I think that's I think a lot of people. I do that myself. I mean, I have some some novels here, but they're the ones I keep putting down, and I'll pick it up in another week or 3 months from now or whatever. Because when I read outside of something that I would consider mythology, I read history.
Mm-hmm.
I read biographies, but that's history too in a way. And then I read books about really anything. I mean, I find myself reading about what the hell is it called? Just how things work.
Right.
I'll find an article online about I'll be interested in how does the telephone actually work from when it was first invented, and I'll just sit there and read and learn about how the telephone works. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's because when I read outside of the whole comics, I live in a fantasy world every day of my life.
Right.
So when I'm reading, I don't want to be in someone else's fantasy world. I want to be in the real world, So
yeah, I guess maybe I want to stay in my own fantasy and not get distracted. but then I gotta watch the news every day on multiple channels.
I'm like so done with the news. I watch a lot of like the old blow 'em up movies, the 1980 stuff, First Blood. I don't know how many times I've seen.
I feel like I'm Daryl. Remember that movie where the kid's watching all those TV sets, and then later mirrored by Ozymandias, just like watching the world. I don't know. Americans equate intelligence with multi-distraction. It's like, no, I want to watch this stuff at the same time.
I don't know, man.
I won't get any rest. I won't sleep. It's like,
Speaking of sleep, I think some of us might need it soon. It is,
yeah.
I mean, 5 minutes to midnight. Yeah.
I slept a lot today, but I'm still energy-wise, I'm very weak. Sitting here hasn't been too bad, but I should get some more sleep.
Yeah, no, listen, get going. And if these two want to stay on for the next 8 minutes so we hit 3 hours, I'll do it. But
all right.
Cool. No, but seriously,
There is a poetry festival coming up. I think on the 14th, I was invited to sit at that show. I did one in Governor's Island, and I was the only comic book guy, and I did okay, I guess. But they invited me and this other guy, Clayton Patterson, to do this one. I don't know if he's going to do it, but I might, and that'll end my year, selling comics at a poetry show. I mean, I think
it'd be your best show, though. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just meet interesting people. They do like live reading. It's just there's no one doing comics. It's just everyone's like reading poems and selling poetry books, and I'm like, hey, I got comics. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing here? But I mean, it makes an interesting, cross. I think if you're doing shows that are not related to the genre you're selling, sometimes that works out to your benefit because you end up being the only game in town.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely can.
Kind of like the nightclubs, same thing. I used to do that with Melvin. We did like the Bank and a few other places back in the day. We did some Vampire clubs, some S&M clubs. We did the Limelight. They had tables for vendors and stuff and sold our books. So I mean,
yeah, sure.
Why not? Right? Why not?
Right.
You guys have a good night. I think I'm gonna wrap up that roast and then put it in my fridge downstairs.
Yeah, go take care of everyone. We'll wrap up. We won't hit the 3-minute mark, but I want to say thank you all for coming on. As I said in the beginning of the show, I invited you guys on because not only are you guys friends of mine, but I'm inspired by the stuff that you do that I see. We were supposed to have Emily Ree on, tonight who couldn't come, and I forgot to promote her stuff really, but go check her out. I believe it's emilyreeart.com. I can look that up real quick. She also has like a brand called Caring is Punk. And she puts that on hats, on clothing. It's a really, really nice thing. She's very much a manga style artist. She's got a couple of web comics. I know one is called Chase Me. The other one I got to look up the name to. You can find her on Webtoon.
Nice.
It's really good stuff. And one of the things that I love about her work and that like inspires me is when she will post like an Instagram story of her thumbnails. I just love the quick pencil thumbnails that she does. I mean, her cleaned up work and finished is really nice. It's polished. It's gorgeous work. But there's an energy to her work that like when she posts, I actually like hold my finger on the story so it doesn't and I could study because she doesn't post the thumbnails all the time that I could sit and look at. So I see it on there, and she's fantastic. Let me just do a quick look up of her name here. But if you go on Webtoon, you could look her you can look up her comics. So it's EmilyRee.com. I'll put it in the, and she has links in there to her comics, and I believe to her social media. And, really, like I said, really good stuff. And I'm sorry she couldn't come on tonight. She had a bit of an emergency she had to take care of. But everyone else, thanks again. You guys have a great Thanksgiving. I really do hope
You too.
you have fun with your family or friends, whoever you're spending it with, and eat a lot of delicious food, and you have a lot of laughter and just a good day, man. All right.
All right.
Zuzu pedals. My mouth is bleeding, Bert. My mouth is bleeding. Take care.
Later, Ray. Feel better, JM. Ed, good luck finishing the project.
I'm about 5 minutes away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds great. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. I'll be back next week with another show. I got honestly, I forgot who is coming on. But it is, I have to find my calendar, but you guys, it is
James Stewart, right?
a writer. He's a writer with a Kickstarter right now. And the artist is someone I know too, and I'm blanking on everything right now. Anyway, just watch next week, and I'm hoping to come with a live stream to draw maybe over the weekend or maybe an early Monday or Tuesday morning thing before I start working at my day gig. Yeah, anyway, you guys, great Thanksgiving to my audience. Thank you. And yeah, read all of these guys and read comics, read theirs, read everybody's.
I'm going to be watching It's a Wonderful Life tomorrow.
It's a little early. Everything starts after Thanksgiving ends for me. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.